argument involving a third person who left the scene before police arrived. The investigation is ongoing, which includes trying to determine who fired shots in this incident.
Blaine Smith with DeKalb Police says the deceased victim is 17 years old. An 18-year-old was wounded and is being treated at a nearby hospital. If you have information for investigators, you are asked to call DeKalb Police. The call can be made anonymously. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
All right, you can expect a mix of clouds and sun today with an afternoon high of 75. A pop-up shower is expected later on, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards, and she says get ready to crack up the air conditioning. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast coming up at 12:05. Happening right now, also in DeKalb, police searching for two teenagers who were last seen in the 1000 block of North Hairston Road. The two girls are missing. They're 12 and 13 years old. The 12-year-old was last seen wearing a black tank top and pink Hello Kitty pants. The 13-year-old is about 5'2", 152 pounds, wearing a black shirt and black tights. If you see them, you're being asked to call DeKalb County Police. The 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Atlanta today hearing the case of whether a Texas-based group used mass voter challenges to violate the Voting Rights Act.
Mere inconvenience, merely having to show a bill showing that you reside at a certain address is not sufficient to create reasonable intimidation.
Now, this case stems from True the Vote's attempt to challenge more than 360,000 Georgia voters ahead of the 2021 U.S. Senate runoffs. Georgia-based Fair Fight, a pro-voter organization, filed suit saying that the effort violated the Voting Rights Act, which prohibits any attempt to intimidate. Voters will be watching and will let you know what the judge decides. Outside the courthouse in New York today, Sean Diddy's lawyer speaking to reporters.
How's it going?
Nice to see you all.
Are you confident you can get your client off? How's Mr. Combs feeling?
Now, Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, has taken the witness stand today in his sex trafficking and racketeering trial. The prosecution and defense gave their opening statements yesterday with two witnesses testifying. The ex-girlfriend testifying that she didn't feel as if she could say no to Sean Diddy, his request to participate in sex parties, which were called freak-offs, because he could be violent, and threatened her with blackmail. The NFL announcing today that there will be 7 international games this upcoming season, including the Falcons playing the Colts in Germany. The game on November 9th will be played at Olympic Stadium in Berlin with kickoff at 9:30 a.m. Atlanta time. It'll be the NFL's first regular season game in Berlin. The Falcons' full schedule will be released tomorrow. The city of Winder wins the award for the best tasting tap water in our state. The mayor of Winder, Jimmy Terrell.
There were 16 other finalists that we were in competition with.
Winder will now compete in the American Waterworks Association's national competition. That's going to happen in June in Denver, Colorado. If you're looking for a summer job, McDonald's is hiring. The fast food restaurant looking to hire some 375,000 people. That is the most in 5 years. McDonald's is one of the biggest U.S. employers, with the company estimating that about 1 in 8 Americans have worked for the chain at one time or another. And speaking of work and summer jobs, this is the 4th annual Summer Youth Employment Program Signing Day at Zoo Atlanta. It's a day that Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens says brings together employers from across the city with teens looking for jobs.
Boy, did our employers in this group project really did show up. We've had more than 150 Atlanta businesses sign on each year.
And the companies are offering internships to Atlanta's youth over the summer. Now, let's talk about your money. You're paying about 2.3% more for just about everything compared to a year ago. Jim Ryan says that's slightly lower than what economists were expecting.
Overall, food prices fell last month by a fraction, but some grocery items saw a dramatic decline. The cost of a dozen eggs, for example, fell more than 10% as the effect of avian flu eased. Still, egg prices are almost 50% higher than in April of last year.
And while we're talking about money, let's take a look at the markets here at noon. The Dow currently down 170 at 42,239. So the Dow's down almost 0.5%. NASDAQ is up almost 1.5%. And the S&P's up almost a full percent. It's time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center. He has a look at your roads.
Found the reason for the jam on I-20 westbound into DeKalb County. It's a stall in the right lane. 20 westbound, 285, exit 67. You're slow back toward Panola Road. Heads up in Cobb County. Officials working a crash on Chastain Road at Big Shanty Road there in Kennesaw, just west of I-75. And in Gwinnett County, all lanes blocked and reopened in Duluth. 85 southbound Pleasant Hill Road, exit 104. Hero got a stall off to the right, so that should help out the delays coming down from Highway 316. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's time now for Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast, sponsored here at noon by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of Atlanta. Here's WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards.
A mix of sun and clouds for this afternoon with pop-up showers and thunderstorms for the ride home later on today. Afternoon high 75, lows tonight in the low 60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with pop-up showers and thunderstorms, high 81. Drying out on Thursday, but heating up to a high of 87. Hotter still for Friday, partly cloudy, high 89. Saturday, scattered rain showers and thunderstorms move through, highs in the mid-80s.
Yeah, so it might be a good time to make sure your air conditioning is in working order as we hit nearly 90 degrees come Friday. Let's take a look around the area right now. In Duluth, you have partly sunny skies and 70 degrees. It's 70 degrees right now in Canton. Here in Midtown Atlanta, it's mostly cloudy at the moment and 71 degrees on Peachtree Street. We'll have more news at 12:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Okay, friends, it's the 5K a day bonus blitz. Your noon keyword is gold, G-O-L-D, gold. Enter the keyword gold into the WSB Radio app or at WSBradio.com/cash. Reminder, you have until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword, win $1,000. The keyword is gold, G-O-L-D. Don't forget, if you get a phone call after 12:30 from a number you don't recognize, answer it. Could be us telling you you won $1,000. Keyword's gold. Good luck.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across America. The phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, delighted to have you today. We got a lot to discuss. Don't forget to text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Sign in to, you get the live stream, the podcast, all those other fine things to be on the program. We've got to begin again where I really didn't want to start the show with this. I saw no need to really begin to start the show with this, but it's actually become kind of a thing that must be covered a second time, and that is the Qatari jet, the 747. I got accused yesterday. Some guy, Simple Jack, I guess, he decided that I was accusing President Trump of being willing to be bribed or something. I never said such a thing. If anything, I think Donald Trump has gotten enough gifts in his lifetime. He understands when people are trying to bribe him and trying to persuade him with gifts, and he can stand up to the gift. I think he's smart enough to know that the Qataris are no one gifts you a $400 million aircraft. They want something in return. And we have an aggressive American press corps. Anything we did to tie to the Qataris of this jet, I think the press corps would expose, and Americans could judge for themselves. Did Donald Trump change a significant American policy or not based on a bribe? I think we're all smart enough to know two things here. One, that yes, Qatar is not handing over a $400 million jet without thinking strings can be attached, and also that Donald Trump has been in this rodeo before. He understands they're going to think there are strings attached, and he doesn't have to allow those strings to be attached. It's his choice. The problem is the blood money. And I need to walk you through this because there are some bizarre things being said by people that, well, we would have to strip this plane down and get all the bugs and stuff out. Let me explain to you what's going to happen with this plane. This 747-800 is going to come to the United States. It's going to be handed off to a non-Boeing defense contractor, and it is going to be taken apart piece by piece, rivet by rivet. Why? Because Air Force One has to have the capability of being refueled midair. That's one of the requirements. Air Force One needs to be refueled midair, and so this 747 is going to have its nose altered and rebuilt to be able to be refueled midair like the current 747 used by the president. This 747-800 is going to have bleeding edge government surveillance, satellite, radar, and communication devices installed. That will require taking the plane apart and adding all of those instrumentations. The upper deck of this plane is fitted out to be luxurious. The actual 747 that the president has, the upper deck is reserved for crew. It has all sorts of instruments. The president can launch a war from there if he needs to. That'll have to be retrofitted into the plane. The plane is a plane where you're going to have all sorts of disassembling and reassembling and attaching new things. So the idea that there's going to be surveillance in there and we're not going to find it is nonsense. The idea that somehow Qatar could fit something in it to control the plane is nonsense. The idea they could blow it up is nonsense. The surveillance and listening devices, it's all nonsense. A lot of the hysteria about the plane isn't so. Here, however, is the legitimate point about this plane. Donald Trump himself has said Qatar is an entity, a country, a nation that funds terrorism. It's not in dispute. Yes, we have a military base in Qatar, and somehow some people are saying, oh, this is justification for this. It's not. Just because we have a military base there, you know, we back in the day had these brilliant relations with China. We would regularly dock. We would regularly send our Navy over to China to hang out with them, things like that. The Chinese were never our friends. We deluded ourselves into thinking our friends. If anything, we've done the same thing with Qatar that we've done with China. And Qatar is now doing what China used to do, funding Confucius Institutes. Qatar is now dropping boatloads of cash on American universities, influencing their opinions, their research, and the students who get access to the university from abroad. We know for certain Qatar has funded anti-Semitic protesters in the Ivy League, and we know for certain Qatar has funded groups tied to terrorists. But we also know for certain Qatar has funded terrorist organizations that murder Americans. Here's the thing. I trot out rarely, but I will now, if Barack Obama or Joe Biden did this rule. The people who are defending this right now would be enraged if Barack Obama or Joe Biden were gifted a 747 from a nation that funded the murder of Americans. And I, as an American, before I am a conservative, before I am a Republican, before I am a Donald Trump voter, before I am anything else, I, as an American, cannot stomach the idea of the President of the United States flying on a plane that was purchased with the same funds used to murder American citizens. And that's the bottom line for me. It's not the gift that outrages me. It's not the bribe. It's not the impropriety or the appearance of impropriety. It's not the supposed accusations of corruption being made by the media. It's Qatar. And I'm not going to call it gutter. I'm not going to call it gutter. It's Qatar. It was Qatar when I was a kid. It's Qatar now. In the same way, I'll probably say Gulf of Mexico because I don't get into newspeak. I don't do it for the left. I'm not going to do it for the right. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to say people's pronouns. I'm not going to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico because it's been the Gulf of Mexico for over 300 years. And I'm not going to call Qatar gutter. If I wanted to call it gutter, I would have been born in Qatar as a Muslim, but I'm not. I'm a white American Christian conservative Republican who voted for Donald Trump and don't like the idea of Donald Trump flying on a plane that was purchased with the same money used to murder Americans. I think it's a problem. It's not that they can bribe him. I think he's smart enough to see it. It's not that this is corrupting. I think he's smart enough to avoid it. It's the plane from Qatar. If it was Saudi Arabia or the United Arab Emirates or Bahrain, I wouldn't have a problem. I'd say good for them. The president needs a 747. The current one is about 40 years old. Boeing can't get its act together. It's Qatar. And that should matter to you. And here's something I've noticed in the last 24 hours, 48 now. Some of the president's most vocal supporters are bothered by this. But online, there are a bunch of very small accounts that are perfectly fine with it and see it perfectly reasonable. And here's the thing. We know that Qatar funds online social media influence operations. That's something else we know about Qatar. And so I don't find it odd at all that a bunch of new or dormant Twitter accounts have sprung to life in the last 48 hours. Very small number of followers, oftentimes less than 1,000 followers, oftentimes less than 500 followers, and they're all on board trying to rationalize taking a blood money jet from Qatar. Some of the president's most prominent supporters, Laura Loomer and others, even there, like, we should not be taking a jet from a country that has paid to murder Americans. I understand the president wants a new plane. I get it. And if it were Saudi Arabia, if it was the United Arab Emirates, if it was Bahrain, if it was Egypt, if it was Israel, if it was any other nation other than maybe China or Russia, I'd say no big deal. But there are two countries on the planet that have paid to murder Americans, and that is Qatar and Iran. I wouldn't want a plane from Iran. Don't want a plane from Qatar. I know the president wants a plane, but this also comes at a time the president is telling Americans that they don't need $30, just two. They don't need 200 pencils. One's fine. And so maybe he doesn't need a 747-800 from Qatar when he's got two perfectly fine 747 200s right now, or 300s right now. Maybe he can forego the blood money plane, because it is a blood money plane. So many of the narratives, though, are wrong, and so many of the narratives seeded by the media that this is a security risk. The Washington Post actually has a story today that it's a big security risk. No, it's not. It's not a security risk, because this plane is going to be taken down to the rivets by a defense contractor and rebuilt in the form and fashion of Air Force One. They're going to be able to get into the nuts and bolts of it. They're going to get into the computer systems. They're going to get into all of that. The scenario that this is somehow a security risk for the president when a defense contractor is going to retrofit it as Air Force One is a nonsensical story. But here's the thing. Many of the media outlets that are using those stories, the bribery, the corruption, the security risk stuff, are outlets that have gotten money from Qatar and are not telling the story about Qatar funding terrorists. Qatar has poured a ton of money into the United States in an influence operation. They buy bots on social media. They buy social media influencer accounts. They pay off colleges and universities. They put Pam Bondi, for God's sakes, on a lobbyist contract. They were paying her $119,000 a month for over a year because she had access to Donald Trump and could talk to him about Qatar. She was a lobbyist for an organization, and her chief client was Qatar. That's documented. They buy off politicians of both parties, and they are a dangerous rogue regime in sympathies to Hamas and Iran, and we coddle them because we have a base there. We think they have strategic influence, and they're using their money to kill Americans, and now they're gifting the president of the United States this plane. I think that's wrong. I understand his desire to take the plane and to want the plane, but I also understand the desire of parents who want to get their kids a big Christmas, and the president's telling them to sacrifice for the good of the country. I think maybe the president should sacrifice for the good of the country and not take a plane purchased by a regime that pays for the murder of Americans. I don't fault him wanting the new plane. Boeing is at issue here. I can't for the life of me understand why we've given Boeing the contract to build the new sixth-generation fighter jet. They can't get a 737 off the ground, let alone Air Force One. How are they going to get the strategic fighter off the ground? They can't even get their rocket ships to take off and go to the moon anymore. And yet we gave them this contract? Guys, this is not a good look for President Trump. I don't worry about him being corrupted by it. I don't worry about the bribery allegations. That's all the stuff the media is pouring on. I just think the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, Mr. America First, Make America Great Again, shouldn't fly on a plane that was funded by a royal family that pays to murder Americans. That's the bottom line here. You feel free to disagree, but I'm hard-pressed to rationalize the look of a president getting on a plane funded with that sort of money. I don't think it's a good look, particularly when he tells us to sacrifice right now for the good of the country. I think maybe the president should rethink this. I don't know that he's going to rethink this, but I think he should rethink this. I think this isn't good. I think the president himself in his first term called out Qatar as a funder of terrorism that has cost the lives of Americans. And I just think this is a bad idea. I don't think it's going to be bugged. I don't think it's going to be booby-trapped. I don't think it's going to be bombed. I don't think any of those nightmare scenarios people are circulating online. It's going to be retrofitted by a defense contractor. It's going to be lots of stuff added to it. It's going to be taken down basically to the rivets and rebuilt. But you can't rebuild the fact that this plane was purchased by a country that has also used its money to murder Americans. That's wrong, and why the president should not take this plane.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1220 Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Busy over on the west side. We've had a right lane crash, 285 southbound. The outer loop just past Hollowell Parkway, exit 12. Northbound's getting slow leaving I-20. I'm going to scan the jam cam, see what's going on there on the inner loop. 285 northbound up around Cobb Parkway, exit 19. They just had right lane construction. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Okay, friends, it's the 5K a day bonus blitz. Your noon keyword is gold, G-O-L-D, gold. Enter the keyword gold into the WSB Radio app or at WSBradio.com/cash. Reminder, you have until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword win $1,000. The keyword is gold, G-O-L-D. Don't forget, if you get a phone call after 12:30 from a number you don't recognize, answer it. Could be us telling you won $1,000. Keyword's gold. Good luck.
Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it squeaking and whining for attention? Overhead Door Company of Atlanta is here with same-day repair service. Experienced technicians have been servicing homeowners in Atlanta since 1935. That's 90 years. Overhead Door Company of Atlanta can handle all your garage door and opener needs. For same-day repair service, schedule online at overheaddooratlanta.com or call 404-USA-DOOR.
Properties come in all shapes and sizes, and so do foundation repairs. Mark Beckham here. It could be new construction, a big house, a small house, or your commercial property. Anyway, you need the leaders in foundation repair to handle it. Get your free estimate at atlantaramjack.com.
This is Scott Slade, updating my health story. I get a checkup every year, and last autumn, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number in my lab work. Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options, and I'm more optimistic than ever about a good outcome. Now, when we're talking about our health, don't be shy. Level with your providers if you think you have a problem. We all need expert eyes looking us over every so often to spot trouble while we still have an option to deal with them. That's where virtual imaging can be invaluable. Virtual imaging's LDCT whole body scan can give you time and options for early treatment, especially for cancer. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is offering their LDCT body scan for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Appointments must be scheduled in May. There are a limited number of scans available at that price, so a few minimum requirements may apply. I'm living proof that preventive medicine can save lives, so don't put this off, especially with this offer from Virtual Imaging. Call 404-678-SCAN. That's 404-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. That's virtualimagingatl.com. So don't put this off. Schedule this Virtual Imaging LDCT whole body scan for just $995 during the month of May, while you still have options.
At Rocco's European Garage, we take pride in providing full service and repair for any Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, Land Rover, or European vehicle. Hey, this is Rocco, and visit one of our 6 locations for top-notch customer service that includes clear upfront pricing, customer approval prior to us beginning work, and a 3-day appointment window to get you back on the road quicker. Your vehicle is fixed right the first time, and we offer shuttle service for more convenience. Always at a better value than the dealership. Visit any of our 6 locations at Rocco's European Garage.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz, and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no, and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
Looking to get organized in style? The brand new Artisan Custom Closet showroom is now open near Trilla Studios in Fayetteville. Come experience the Artisan difference. Meet with a designer for your free consultation and start your custom project today. See more at artisancustomclosets.com.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
You can be live on Eric's show by calling 877-97-ERIC. That's 877-973-7425.
Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. So I have mentioned before, my son and I were able to get in a Airbus A320 flight simulator as the Delta training simulator that the pilots use. They literally use this simulator and then go off to fly their first flight. And when you get to be 30 feet above the runway, in order to remind the pilot to pull back on the throttle, it uses the R word, which in French means too slow. Retard, it says. And you're supposed to pull back on the throttle. It's your last reminder to pull back on the throttle. And the pilot jokes is, the plane says it twice. If it says it a third time, it's talking about the pilot. And just for those of you new to the program, we've had some people who are 30 feet over the runway, if you understand the reference, who are calling and saying, I can't believe you're opposed to this Qatari jet. Would you be opposed to Japan or Germany giving us something? They killed Americans too. Yes, in World War II, and we beat them and signed a treaty with them, and Qatar is still funding terrorists around the world, including Hamas, that kill Americans. You people are 30 feet above the runway, Simple Jack. Can you, the fact that you're willing to justify anything, maybe you people should just shut up. It just, good Lord, the level of moral obtuseness from some people. Now, I'm not worried about the man being bribed at all. I'm really not. I don't think this will influence his behavior on Qatar. Just think it's a very bad look for the president to fly. It would have been a very bad look for the president of the United States right after World War II to adopt a BMW or a Mercedes as the beast. Right now, we're allied with Germany and Japan. We do great business with Germany and Japan. And they're not funding the murder of Americans right now. Qatar is actually funding the terrorist organizations right now that murder Americans. I'm sorry if you are 30 feet above the runway and unable to comprehend that bit of nuance. But some people need their Title I funding. Now, we need to move on. With banks out there collapsing, with community banks struggling to grow because of the Biden regulations that haven't gone away yet, with gold doing what gold is doing and inflation doing what it's doing, well, and by the way, when we come back, there's actually good news on inflation the media doesn't want you to know about. Swiss America has been warning people about a secret war on cash. They've been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years, and they would love to give you their report free about the secret war on cash. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. They can educate you on protecting your assets. In their report, The Secret War on Cash, it takes less than 15 minutes to read. Even those of you 30 feet above the runway can read it. It'll save on your retirement and finances. You get a free copy by calling or texting 800-289-2646. The All-Out War on Cash includes digital forms of currency. It's growing, so read this report. It will help you. All you got to do is text my name, Eric, to 800-289-2646. The secret war on cash includes digital forms of currency. It is spreading. Find out from Swiss America what you can do about it. Text my name or just call and mention Eric sent you. 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. Get the report completely free. 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. President Trump's in Saudi Arabia kicking off his 4-day visit to the Middle East. In a speech at the Saudi-U.S. Investment Forum, the president talked about the importance of the relationship between the two countries.
Today we reaffirm this important bond and we take the next steps to make our relationship closer, stronger, and more powerful than ever before.
And President Trump says he hopes that Saudi Arabia will soon join the Abraham Accords and eventually recognize Israel. Mix of clouds and sun today, highs around 75, a pop-up shower possible this afternoon, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. 3 people are dead, 2 injured, and a 6-vehicle pileup on I-75 in North Georgia blocked the interstate near Adairsville for several hours this morning. The Georgia State Patrol saying this crash involved 6 vehicles, including 3 big rigs. One of the tractor trailers crashed into a car before slamming into 2 other tractor trailers and 2 more vehicles. A Ford Ranger caught fire. In Gwinnett County, police are searching this noon for a murder suspect. 39-year-old Frederick Taylor of Lawrenceville wanted in the murder of 35-year-old Tiffany Trim of Snellville. Happened on April 30th at a home on Hillsborough Drive. A child in the house called 911 to say that there was a fight between a man and a woman. When officers arrived, they found the woman dead. They were told the suspect had just left on foot. The juveniles in the home were not harmed and were not related to the victim or the suspect. Again, they are now searching for the killer. Some good news for movie lovers. AMC Theaters is offering half-price tickets on Wednesdays. The chain says it's going to start rolling out the discounts starting July 9th. The half-price deal is good all day and will be based on the cost of a normal adult evening ticket. It's 12:32.
It's Eric Erickson here. Every single day now, I deal with a malicious request to click a link. My daughter the other day got a text message some of you have probably gotten. Click on it and pay your toll, and it's just a scam. All these things keep happening. They're preying upon the young, senior citizens, and you and me. But there's good news. Vision Computer is here to help you. If you have their managed service, you're never alone, and in just 15 seconds, expert tech support is at your fingertips, ready to protect you from online threats, scams, and computer problems. And you don't have to take my word for it. We're a Vision Computer household, but they've got thousands of 5-star reviews beyond my household reviews, but I'd give them 5 stars too. They've got thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews because they're simply the best. Call them at 404-COMPUTE today or visit them online at visioncomputers.com, because when it comes to your security, you can't afford to wait. Vision will take care of you. Tell them I sent you. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com.
Heavy rain can significantly impact your septic system by saturating the soil and causing backups in your home. I'm Shannon, owner of Scorpion Septic. We can help. My licensed, insured, experienced team responds 24/7 with upfront pricing and high-quality work.
Take the sting out of septic service with Scorpion Septic, where there is never a pump-out charge with your repair. Details online.
ScorpionSepticServices.com. There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Here's Alex Williams.
Travel advisory, West Side Interloop rollover crash, 285 northbound, the Interloop just north of I-20 exit 10. Only the right shoulder is open. You're slow back before Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. Also slowing I-20 in both directions, trying to ramp onto 285 North. So think about using some surface streets or even heading up through downtown as an alternate. Earlier stall into cab that was in the right lane and now on the right shoulder. I-20 westbound at I-285 exit 67. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy with pop-up showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. High 75. Lows tonight in the low 60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with hit-or-miss rain showers and thunderstorms. High 81. Heating up on Thursday. Partly cloudy skies. High 87.
More news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, we would love to have you. We got a lot to talk about here about the economy. We've got economic news you need to know about. And the economic news is actually good news. Inflation is at its lowest point in the last 12 months and the lowest since February of 2021 after Joe Biden broke the economy. Have you heard that today, by the way? Have you heard that? This is something I need to reiterate this point because it's actually an important point to me that the headline is all about there is inflation and worries about tariffs, but the truth of the matter is the April inflation number is the best since Joe Biden broke the economy in February of 2021. Inflation is at 2.3%. for April, adjusted over 12 months, the best since February of 2021. Remember what the Federal Reserve economic target is, 2%, so we're almost there. Let me just read you from CNBC. Inflation retreated again in April on the back of lower prices for consumer staples like groceries and gasoline and other items such as used cars and clothing. The Consumer Price Index, a key inflation gauge, rose 2.3% in April from 12 months earlier, down from 2.4% in March, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported Tuesday. It was the smallest annual increase since February 2021, just before pandemic-era inflation started to pop. So eggs are up 49.3%, but that's actually down. Instant coffee's up 13.5%. Other condiments up 10.3%. Ground beef is up 10%. Coffee's up 9.6%. Roasted coffee up 9.1%. Beef roasts uncooked up 8.8%. Apples up 6.8%. Candy's up 6.3%. Prepared salads up 4.6%. Milk is up 4.1%. Gas services up 15.7%. School tuition and fees only up 5.2%. That's not bad, however. Now, there is a catch. Because President Trump's tariffs went into effect in April, they're not really going to be measured in April. We'll need to wait until next month, the middle of next month, to see what May's inflation is. We do know that the Treasury Department is seeing a giant boost in revenue from tariffs. Now, because the Treasury Department is seeing a giant boost in tariff money coming in over the last 30 days, that does suggest that we will see some price increases for the next month. That's why the Fed is taking it slow. A 10% average tariff would amount to as much as a 1% point to the Consumer Price Index after about 6 to 9 months, says Joseph Gagnon at the Peterson Institute for International Economics. The average rate at a reasonable guess, given current policy, with a 10% baseline tariff on most U.S. trading partners and a higher tariff on China of 30%. There's also 25% duties on specific products like steel, aluminum, and some automobiles and auto parts, and on certain goods from Canada and Mexico. That's going to have to play out over time. Core inflation, which strips out energy and food prices, which can be very volatile, was at 2.8% in April. There are lots of question marks about the tariffs. There are some signs already showing up. So, for example, there was a 9% jump in audio equipment prices. There was a 2.2% increase in photographic equipment prices. But the overall effect is muted in large part because they didn't go into effect immediately, and gas prices declined by 0.1%. By the way, that's a 12 percentage point decline year over year in gasoline. Now, one of those issues is a recession, and that's one of the reasons oil has collapsed. But if you got the show notes today, you saw the story from J.P. Morgan. This is from Bloomberg News. J.P. Morgan Chase & Company boosted its forecast for U.S. economic growth after a temporary trade deal between the U.S. and China, dropping its earlier call that the world's largest economy would sink into a recession in 2025. The administration's recent dialing down of some of the more draconian tariffs placed on China could reduce the risk that the U.S. economy slips into a recession, says J.P. Morgan chief U.S. economist Michael Feroli on Tuesday. In a note, we believe recession risks are still elevated, but below 50% now. That being said, the bank now sees U.S. growth growing at only 0.6%. That's up from 0.2%, but still very slow growth. Personal consumption expenditure price indexes possibly rising to 3.5%, up from where they are now under 3%, but instead of 4%. That's good news, but there's also a warning sign there in that everybody is still predicting an economic slowdown. Now, it's an economic slowdown that won't push us into a recession. There just won't be a lot of job growth. But this isn't bad. Now, I'm going to get your blood pressure up now. No, I have nothing critical to say about the president. Calm down. No, I saw this story last night. And the level of, BS. This is from NBC News. NBC News is now tracking changes in the prices of eggs, bread, ground beef, chicken, and other grocery items to monitor the impact on consumers. I'm trying not to cuss. NBC News is now tracking grocery prices. You mean for the 4 years of massively high inflation under Joe Biden, NBC never did it. But now that Donald Trump is president, NBC News thinks now that prices are on the decline, it's the perfect time to track it. Are President Donald Trump's policies bringing down grocery bills? Grocery prices have been on the rise for most of the past 5 years as supply chain bottlenecks, the war in Ukraine, and excessive profit-taking here in America have put a strain on consumers' wallets. Notice they did not mention Joe Biden's economic policies. Trump campaigned heavily on the price of food in 2024, promising that if elected, he would lower costs. But the price of eggs, a frequent stand-in for inflation during the campaign, is still more than $1 more than it was a year ago, and Trump admitted in December it would be hard to bring prices down. Follow price trends using the chart below. NBC News is monitoring the average point-of-sale price for eggs, chicken, bread, ground beef, and other common grocery items, along with how much those prices have changed since April 2024. Since April, what an arbitrary measure, is it not? April of 2024. For 4 damn years, Joe Biden was president of the United States and inflation was 9%. And NBC News not only refused to do this, but insisted everything is fine. And now when they recap why grocery prices have been on the rise for most of the past 5 years, they say supply chain bottlenecks, the war in Ukraine, and excess profit-taking. There's no mention of Joe Biden. There's no mention of Bidenomics. Is it any wonder no one trusts these people? That they would do this with a straight face? They would have the goal on Good Morning America. Do you know why so many Americans are 30 feet above the runway? Because they're listening to NBC News. They're getting their news from NBC News, which is a propaganda service for the Democrats. This is discrediting, at least it should be discrediting to every honest American, left, right, and center, that knows Joe Biden's policies, according to Larry Summers, a Democrat, caused the inflation. The excess money pumped into the economy by Joe Biden caused the inflation. They said it was transitory. It wasn't. It stayed. And they don't have the honesty at NBC News to accurately tell us that it was Biden's policies. Instead, it's the war in Ukraine and profit-taking. That's the Democratic spin. That's the shrinkflation line from Joe Biden. Of course, NBC News also used cheap fakes. NBC News fact-checked all the videos showing Joe Biden in decline and said they were cheap fakes, also a term used by Joe Biden. And now they have the temerity to do this. By the way, egg prices, you should note, according to NBC News' own data, they're declining now. It turns out that when you cull 10 million chickens from the flock, egg prices go up. It's basic supply and demand. But guess what? The new chicks, takes them 6 months to start laying eggs. They're starting to lay eggs, and egg prices are starting to come down. And NBC News won't tell you that either. Contrast NBC News with CNBC, by the way. They're all in the same family for now, although they're about to spin CNBC off with MSNBC. You know, the guys at CNBC and the gals at CNBC, they must hate being part of NBC because the discrediting news at NBC, the spin and the propaganda for the Democrats, and at CNBC, they do try to play it straight generally, and at CNBC, this is the best inflation report since before Joe Biden broke the economy. At CNBC, grocery prices are up, but they're actually declining from where they were. Yeah, they're still up a little bit, but they're not up as much as they were. And wages, by the way, are starting to surpass the inflation rate. So your gap between what you're buying and what you're bringing home is starting to close significantly. And your wages are at the point, statistically speaking, generally starting to surpass inflation, which means your take-home pay is going up. Not for every individual American, but on average, that's what's happening now. You get that coverage at CNBC. You don't get that coverage at NBC. Because NBC is all about protecting the precious. The bottom line is that, the economy is probably going to slow down, but we're probably now not going to get a recession because the president was able to scale back the tariffs more than what they were. Inflation is going to go up. It's going to be tariff related. It's going to be one-time price increases. But then once you get those one-time price increases, it's not going to go up anymore, and that will bring inflation back level. We won't see a robust economy. That will hurt revenue in Washington. The tariffs will help offset that revenue. But there is one problem. We were told that part of the reason for the burdensome tariffs on China was to decouple our economy from China. It moved so fast and was so tumultuous that they are largely giving up right now on decoupling our economy from China. We still need to in lots of areas. But it was so fast, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Donald Trump was starting to get a little concerned with the shipping containers. They were slowing down such that there could be empty store shelves, particularly at Christmas. He was really concerned about that. He factored that in, and that's why he wanted to deal with China to go on immediately and to put a pause on them. He was worried about getting to Christmas and store shelves. He understood his doll comments might not be the best comments to make. In other words, he's not unpersuadable. He's adaptable in a way the media tells you he's not. He is. He took in the data, and he changed his mind. The media says that means you're a grown-up when you do that, but Donald Trump did it, and they say he's a fool. He can't win. I disagree with the man regularly. I get hate mail from some of you for disagreeing with him, like the Qatari jet. But I would just note that he took the data in and changed his mind, which is a good sign he pays attention. The media, however, which praises people that change their mind because he changed their mind, says, oh, well, he's a loser. Because the media hates Donald Trump, and they're still covering for Joe Biden, except this Alex Thompson book that's coming up. Wow, the revelations, we'll get into it. First, I got to tell you about Vision Computer. If you're buying a computer, building a computer, Vision can save you some money. If you call them at 404-COMPUTER, go to visioncomputers.com. They'll build you a computer. They can upgrade your existing computer. You get their customer service. You build a computer with Vision, you get their customer service for free. You can also just get their customer service. Let's say you've got a current computer, it's kind of clunky, you don't know what you're doing, you got questions, maybe it's got a virus. Vision can remote in, they can fix your computer, they can help you with printer setup, they can help you with your email. If you've got a company and you, the boss, are like me, where you're also the IT guy for your company, you can outsource to Vision, and all your employees get their phone number. Vision, they call them, they fix the computer. You don't have to. You can be the good boss. They can be the good workers focused on their jobs, and Vision can be focused on their computers, and you don't have to pay the salary of an in-house IT person. You save money. Just $179 a year per computer. If you mention my name, you save some money. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. Let Vision Computers take care of your tech needs. Let them build or refurbish your computers. Vision is great. We have one in our house. They're fantastic people. 404-COMPUTE, visioncomputers.com.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1250 Coolray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory continues on the west side Interloop. Rollover crash 285 northbound. The Interloop just north of I-20 exit 10. Only a right shoulder is open. You're slow back to Cascade Road. You can head up through downtown as an alternate. If you're in the backup on I-20 eastbound, exit at Fulton Industrial Boulevard. You can take that up to Hollowell Parkway and re-enter 285 north. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off, and for UPS shipping, add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
Online,
on the app,
where you get your news,
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
That's amazing.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every
This
weekday.
is Dawn in Brazelton, and I just won $1,000 from WSB.
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 2
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
on 95.5 WSB.
Dave Baker here. If the temperature inside your house doesn't fit with the temperature outside your house, you need to call Coolray Heating and Cooling. In May, you can get your HVAC system tuned up for only $79, or you can get up to $2,250 in rebates with the purchase of a complete Carrier comfort system, plus get free attic insulation. For comfort that lasts all year, visit Coolray.com to schedule your appointment today. Coolray and Carrier. Turn to the experts.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in, we'll work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on portfolio x-ray, or click on full retirement plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
How can your termite company claim your home is termite-free? By only walking around the outside? Dave Baker for Breda Pest Management. Termites are the most destructive pest of all. They literally eat your house. So only Breda will also come inside and thoroughly inspect your entire home with infrared cameras. Breda guarantees your termite protection and will lock in your rate for 10 years. BREDAPest.com.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
If you are buying a building, if you're building a building, if you're buying a franchise, if you've got a business opportunity and you need access to capital and your lender, let me just say, you know how oftentimes the banks you use one lender, you get to know them, and then suddenly they're not there anymore. First Liberty, the Frost family's been with us since the 90s, and it's still the Frost family. Any one of you in the nation who's in the business of business and your business sees an opportunity, reach out to them, firstlibertyga.com. We're talking deals $250,000 or more, or if it's heavy equipment like $75,000. If you got great credit, they can move real fast. FirstLibertyGA.com. Doesn't matter what state you are in the nation, FirstLibertyGA.com. They'll do business with you. Tell them I sent you. Now, I got the revelations coming out of this Jake Tapper, Alex Thompson book. So Kobe and I are in studio, and we were just talking about this. Tapper gets a lot of heat for being at CNN Not Covered, and he actually is one of the very few at CNN who did. He didn't cover it a lot, but he covered it enough that Biden administration officials wouldn't go on his program, and that should tell you how sensitive they were. The Wall Street Journal reporters, Alex Thompson at Axios, they got blackballed by the Biden administration. Alex Thompson himself was persona non grata at the Biden White House because he asked questions. And so Tapper and Thompson have this book coming out about the problems that Joe Biden had. It turns out that his staff were so alarmed by his declining health that they were thinking they would have to put him in a wheelchair. That he apparently has a degrading spine. They blamed it on a foot injury the doctor said was fully healed. They didn't want people to know he had a degrading spine injury that could put him in a wheelchair. They covered it up. They purged anyone for the administration who asked questions about it, pushed them out. They blocked access to reporters like Alex Thompson. They blocked access to other Axios reporters because Alex Thompson was asking questions. They wouldn't send administration officials to Jake Tapper's show at CNN to punish him for asking questions. And so much of it. Think about the coverage at the Washington Post, the fact checkers at the Washington Post, the Philip Bumps of the world and the like, who refer to it as cheap fakes, all the videos from the GOP, or the New York Times, or MSNBC, or even large sections of CNN that covered for Joe Biden. It's interesting to have Jake Tapper writing the book when there were so many people at CNN who did carry the water of the Biden administration on this. I do tend to give Jake a pass because he actually did cover it and actually has the clips from his show where he probed administration officials until they stopped coming on his show because he kept asking them about it. It's wild how much of the press, though, was complicit in the cover-up. How much of the press didn't want to cover it, and how is it Jen Psaki has a job? How is it that woman has a job on MSNBC when she was one of the propagandists in the cover-up? Or was she not as plugged in because either she knew or she didn't know because she wasn't plugged in, and yet they're using her ties to the administration to build her credibility? I do wonder about that. Now, we got to move on. We got lots of other stuff to talk about when we come back. The president is in Saudi Arabia. He's bringing home the bacon to the United States. Some big deals coming out of the Middle East today that he's announced. They're treating him like royalty. He's eating it up, and he's bringing home billions of dollars to the U.S.
Jason Hansen, former CIA officer here, with an urgent warning. The 2025 tariffs are a matter of national security, and retaliation can become an extreme national threat. Every American with a 401k, IRA, or retirement account should act now before it's too late. I urge everyone to protect and secure their hard-earned money with physical gold and silver before we see massive retaliations from China and an extreme market of volatility. I only trust Advantage Gold with my money. They're the #1 precious metals company in America, and they can help you secure retirement with physical gold and silver. To get started, just call 800-324-9902 and request their free gold investment guide and learn how you can own physical gold and silver, tax-free and penalty-free. But don't wait. This threat is real. Call 800-324-9902. Now again, that's 800-324-9902. Call right now and get your free gold investment guide today or visit AdvantageGold.com. Past performance may vary. Always consult with a tax and financial professional.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news is sponsored by Window Nation. DeKalb County Police are investigating a deadly shooting. It happened at a gas station in Lithonia.
An altercation inside a Shell gas station on Hillendale Drive results in gunfire, and DeKalb Police spokesman Blaine Clark says one teen is dead.
On arrival, they found a 17-year-old male and an 18-year-old male shot. Sadly, the 17-year-old died of his injuries at a local hospital.
The 18-year-old is being treated for his injuries. A third person also involved in the altercation is being sought. Anyone with information can make an anonymous call to DeKalb Police. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
All right, partly cloudy this afternoon. Pop-up showers are possible. High 75, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. 3 people dead, 2 injured in a 6-vehicle pileup. This happened on I-75 in North Georgia today. It blocked the interstate near Daresville near the Buc-ee's for several hours this morning. The Georgia State Patrol saying the crash involved 6 vehicles, including 3 big rigs. Happening right now, DeKalb County Police searching for 2 teens who were last seen in the 1000 block of North Hairston Road. They are 12 and 13-year-old girls. The 12-year-old last seen wearing a black tank top and pink yellow Hello Kitty pants. The 13-year-old is 5'2", about 152 pounds, wearing a black shirt and black tights. If you see them, you're being asked to call DeKalb County Police. President Trump is lifting sanctions on Syria. He made the announcement at the Saudi U.S. Investment Forum today as part of his 4-day trip to the Middle East. He also again warned Iran to talk to the U.S. about a peace deal. The focus of Trump's trip is U.S. investments, with Trump saying that the future of the region is commerce, not chaos. The NFL announcing today that there will be 7 international games this upcoming season, including the Falcons playing the Colts in Germany. The game on November 9th will be played at Olympic Stadium in Berlin with kickoff at 9:30 a.m. Atlanta time. It'll be the NFL's first regular season game in Berlin. The Falcons' full schedule is going to be released tomorrow. We all use them, Ziploc bags, and now a California woman has filed a class action lawsuit over them. Correspondent Michael Wallace has details.
In her lawsuit against Ziploc's parent company, SC Johnson & Son, Linda Cheslow claims its microwave and freezer-safe bags release microplastics when they're microwaved or frozen. Then those microplastics are leached into consumers' food. She claims SC Johnson knows the bags are not safe or green, but they don't want consumers to know it. SC Johnson has not commented on the lawsuit.
Health experts have found microplastics can lead to cancer, hormone disruption, and cognitive decline. Microsoft cutting 3% of its workforce. The maker of Windows and Word saying today the layoffs will impact employees all across all levels of the company. Microsoft has about 228,000 employees. It's 102.
Have you gotten your grilling preparations and fixins for Memorial Day? It's coming up. I've got mine from Omaha Steaks, and you should too, because during the Memorial Day sale, you get 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. And listen, you're going to get an extra $35 off with promo code ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, at checkout. Just look for the promo code box, put in my name, Eric. You'll get $35 off and already 50% off site-wide. So I loaded up on hamburgers and the gourmet jumbo franks. Of course, my wife loves the caramel apple tartlets. But go load up your cart with deliciousness. Whatever you want, 50% off site-wide at Omaha Steaks for Memorial Day. It is deliciousness delivered to your door. I've already got my order in. I did save you guys some food, so go check it out. omahasteaks.com, 50% off site-wide. The Memorial Day sale happening right now. Use promo code ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, at checkout for an extra $35 off. Minimum purchase may apply.
We've all got one, and there's never just one thing on it. Your home improvement to-do list. Trust the Plus. Painting Plus. The Plus covers everything on your list. Siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and of course, painting.
Hi, I'm Charlie, the owner of Painting Plus. We do it all, and we do it right. Trust the Plus family of businesses for everything on your list.
If your home's exterior has it, the Plus can improve it. Painting Plus. Siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and more. Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
Hope. It's more than a word. It's a breakthrough in the making. At City of Hope, we're pushing the boundaries of science, targeting cancer at the molecular level, with teams of experts working together to personalize a treatment plan right down to your DNA with unprecedented speed, making every second count, with appointments in as little as 24 hours. City of Hope, advancing cancer care at life-saving speed. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
Hey, remember that crack in the concrete by your pool, the one everyone keeps tripping on? It's still there. AquaGuard Foundation Solutions can fix that. Just schedule a free inspection at aquaguard.net and a team of experts will stop by to help you out. Remember the name.
AquaGuard. Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Holding all lanes right now where we've had a travel advisory. We'll call it a temporary red alert. West Side Interloop, 285 northbound I-20, exit 10. No traffic getting by. You're jammed up back to Cascade Road trying to clear that crash. You can head up through downtown as an alternate to avoid the delays. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Sunny skies today, though pop-up showers and thunderstorms through the afternoon and evening hours. High 75, lows tonight in the low 60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with a few hit-or-miss rain showers. High 81, drying out on Thursday and heating up. Daytime high 87.
All right, we'll be near 90 come Friday, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Hopefully your air conditioning is in working condition. As we take a look around the area, Douglasville has mostly cloudy skies, 74 degrees. College Park has 74, and in Decatur, a mix of sun and clouds, 73 degrees. Here in Midtown Atlanta, we have mostly cloudy skies right now and 73 degrees on Peachtree Street. We'll have more news at 1:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across America. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, be patient with me on the phones here. And I am letting the president and his Saudi event play out a little more because I got some audio clips I want to play for you here in a bit, but we're compiling them. He just finished he spoke a long time, said some very insightful things, give you a sense of his views of the Middle East. We will get to those. I want to actually start with the South Africans and the Episcopal Church. And you know, the woke theologians out there have gotten really into racist Jesus. They are very, very, very into these wild theories of, well, Jesus is all about woke intersectionalism and stuff. You know, a while back when this was coming to a head, we actually put together a woke hymnal, and it is probably time to remind you of how the wokes have decided to play out their theology in the hymn books of America.
Introducing the hymns of a new generation, the Woke Jesus Hymn Book. It includes old favorites updated to modern sensibilities like Jesus Loves Thee.
Jesus loves thee, this I know, for the drag queen tells thee so. Little ones to Zer belong, they're oppressed and he's an ally.
and that old favorite, Jesus Loves the Little Children.
Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. Red and yellow, black, not white, they are precious in their sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world.
And who could forget that longtime favorite, Kumbah Cha, my lord.
Kumbah Cha, my lord, Kumbah Cha. Oh Lord, Kumbah Cha.
Or the Civil Rights Anthem, now reflecting critical theory.
We shall not overcome. We shall not overcome. We shall not overcome any day.
And of course, that classic progressive Christian tune, Imagine by John Lennon.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try.
Order now while supplies last.
The woke Christian hymnal. Now, it's relevant here because of a couple of stories. I would like to tell you that I'm making this up, but I'm not. The Presbyterian Church USA, that is the heretical version of the Presbyterian Church in America. There are a lot of Presbyterian denominations. The two biggest, PCUSA, is the very progressive, gay marriage, gay pastors. It's dying off. The last member of the PCUSA has already been born in America, given their decline. And the PCA, which is one of the fastest growing denominations in America, that's the one I'm in. We put the fun in fundamentalism. Yes, indeed. We are a fine branch of Christianity, great conservatives, although, you know what's so funny is not conservative enough for some people. But then you've got the OPC, you got the EPC, you got the ARP, you got lots of Presbyterian denominations. Regional PCA, though, if you ever want to find my Southern Baptist pastor, when I moved to Georgia and went to a Baptist church that had a woman in the pulpit that Sunday, said, go find a PCA church. I'd be one but for the sprinkling. And I went to a PCA church. They do drown the babies, but I've enjoyed it. My whole family now goes to the PCA church. My wife one day wants our kids thrown in a swimming pool to truly be baptized. But until then, we like the PCA. It's a good conservative denomination, believes in the inerrant word of God. There are some people who it's too liberal because, well, you can't please everybody, but it hits a sweet spot, I think. And every denomination has problems, but the PCA is good, conservative, Bible-believing denomination, great PCA churches around the country. The PCUSA, though, the PCA, we fund missionaries everywhere. In fact, one of my big complaints is a lot of PCA churches send their kids on mission trips abroad as opposed to in their own backyard, where you've got a mission field in your own backyard. The PCUSA has announced that it is abandoning its missionary program abroad. They are winding down their missionary support around the world because they don't want to be seen as, and again, I'm not making this up, they don't want to be seen as colonizers. That's right. They can't share the gospel of Jesus Christ because they're sending too many white missionaries out, and those white missionaries trying to influence local cultures. I mean, listen, the PCUSA is actually a declining, it's one of the fastest dying out congregations. That and the Episcopal Church are two of the most rapidly in decline denominations in America. I know there's some fine PCUSA. I've got a guy who emails me very angrily, you coward. He literally, in an email one time, called me a coward. He says, you abandoned the PCUSA. I'm staying. I'll be the last one here defending biblical orthodoxy. I was like, God bless you, brother. You stay in there and fight the good fight, but I'm not subjecting my kids to that garbage. The PCUSA doesn't want to send out missionaries lest they be viewed as colonizers. The Episcopal Church in America has decided to stop helping settle refugees in the United States. Now, this one's actually timely and relevant because the Episcopal Church has for like 50 years taken money from the federal government to resettle refugees into the United States. But the American government is now asking them to help resettle 59 white refugees from South Africa. and the Episcopal Church that was totally fine helping 12 million illegal immigrants and was totally fine overwhelming Springfield, Ohio with a bunch of Haitians, doesn't want to get near 59 white refugees. Because the intersectional woke Jesus loves refugees as long as they're not white. Red and yellow, black, not white, they are precious in his sight, is the woke hymnal. The Episcopal Church is literally going to stop taking federal money after 40 or 50 years because they don't want to resettle white people. Now, the American media, this is like NBC News. And in the last hour, if you weren't here, NBC News is now suddenly covering grocery prices and inflation now that Donald Trump is president. And they had a little paragraph that explained why grocery prices have been high the last 5 years. And it was greedflation, and it was the war in Ukraine, and it was supply chain disruptions. It had nothing to do with Joe Biden's Bidenomics. They completely deleted any reference to Bidenomics. And the same media that can't be honest about Joe Biden's inflationary record and governance policies can't be honest with what's happening in South Africa, because if they were honest, they would have to admit the Afrikaners got what they deserved in their mind. The Afrikaners are the original descendants of the Dutch Protestant settlers of South Africa. They were the people who, for a very long time, supported apartheid. And now they're in the minority in South Africa, and things are going badly for them. And the white Episcopalians will not help resettle them, though they're actually being persecuted, and the American media refuses to acknowledge what's happening. Now, side note, and I've got to be a little discreet here. You're going to have to forgive me. I can't give you all of the details. It's a sensitive subject. I have a friend who worked for an international nonprofit in South Africa. He was out one night with some friends at dinner, and when he got to the parking lot, he was arrested by two police officers, local police officers in South Africa. They said he was being charged with fraud. They put him in a police car, and they took him to jail. And when they got to jail, they did not fingerprint him. They put him in a cell. They did not process him. They did not allow him to call anyone. And the two arresting police officers told him if he wanted to pay them the fine, they could let him out then and there. He refused. They put him in jail and told no one. The nonprofit that he worked for, when he didn't show up at work the next day, started looking for him. They went to the local police. Sure enough, he's at the police station. He hadn't been processed, but inquiring minds at the police department happened to luck into finding him in a jail cell. No charges pending, but they wouldn't let him out till he paid money. The American embassy had to get involved. They were able to get him out of jail without paying any money, and he was told, do not come back to South Africa. That was an American citizen held against his will by local authorities in South Africa with no formal charges pressed. But if he wanted to pay a lot of money to the local police, they would gladly get him out of jail. White farmers in South Africa are being murdered and their land is being taken, particularly white farmers in South Africa without local descendants. Their kids have moved out of the country, or they don't have kids to inherit their property. They're being targeted. They're being murdered. Local governments are blaming the white Afrikaners for all the problems. They've got crime problems, healthcare problems. They've got power problems. The power grid goes out on a daily basis. Whitey is being blamed. These people are being persecuted. And the American press corps says, well, the South African government denies it. There's no proof. You actually talk to South Africans, of whom I have several friends, one of whom I know quite well, says, yeah, this is happening all over South Africa. A lot of people are leaving. The farmers in particular are the ones, because a lot of them have accumulated a lot of farmland over time, and now the local black governments are vilifying them, saying, oh, well, the black people can't get the land because the white guy got it first, and we need him to give up his land. Somebody goes, kills the farmer, they divide up the lot. He doesn't have any heirs. This is happening. It is documented, except it's denied by the media. The President of the United States is allowing 59 of these Afrikaners to come to the United States. And the Episcopal Church, which has for 50 years resettled refugees in this country, they were fine with the Haitians. They were fine with the gangbangers. They were fine with the drug lords. They were fine with the illegal aliens. But 59 white people from South Africa, that's a bridge too far for the Episcopal Church. 59 people who might be murdered in South Africa is too much. If they were MS-13 members or Tren de Agua members, the Episcopal Church would be glad to help resettle them in your neighborhood. But they're whitey, so they won't help. Because Jesus said to love all the little children, just not the white ones. And Jesus said to treat the poor and love your neighbor well, but not the white ones. So the Episcopal Church, they don't want to help resettle refugees in this country who are white, so they've now gotten out of the federal program altogether. Now, the Episcopal Church, that's kind of funny because they actually need the money. They're a dying denomination. Statistically, the PCUSA and the Episcopal Church, the last members of these denominations, have been born in the United States. They are declining so rapidly. There used to be millions of Episcopalians in the country. We're down to a few 100,000 regular worshipers around the country. They're selling church properties. You know, there's wasn't a big Episcopal church in Virginia, Falls Church, Virginia, called the Falls Church. And the Episcopal Church, when the Falls Church decided to get out of it because of gay marriage and all that, the Episcopal Church forced them out of the building, took the property, and passed it off to a group of Muslims. They wouldn't actually sell it to the Anglican communion. That's what the Episcopal Church does. They are woke progressives, and they're actually, they preach a social gospel, not the real gospel. And when asked to help resettle refugees who are white, they said, no, they're white. We don't want to help, which is part of the problem that we're dealing with theologically liberal denominations of this country. And by the way, it was a good thing the president allowed these people to resettle here. They actually are being targeted, many of them being murdered in South Africa. It's just the American media denies it because privately they think they're getting what they deserved. So apparently does the Episcopal Church.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
121 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Better news, West Side Interloop, that crash now pretty much off to the right. 285 northbound, the Interloop I-20 exit 10. Still slow, though, back to Cascade Road, as well as on I-20 eastbound, leaving Riverside Parkway, trying to get on to 285. And now new trouble heading into Midtown. It's a stall in the center lane, 85 southbound before 17th Street, slowing you back to Georgia 400. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies, offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
Online,
on the app,
where you get your news,
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
That's amazing.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every
This
weekday.
is Dawn in Brazelton, and I just won $1,000 from WSB.
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 2
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
on 95.5 WSB.
You should never need financing for a simple garage door repair, but it's happening here. Out-of-town companies have invaded Atlanta for a cash grab, charging outrageous prices. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage, Entry Doors, and Windows. Stay local and stay on budget for every opening of your home. All Four Seasons, trusted in Atlanta for over 25 years, exceptional customer service, and fair, honest pricing. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 Seasons Garages.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects, now we need partners like you. Go to firstlibertyga.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to firstlibertyga.com. That's firstlibertyga.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
This is Scott Slade. Nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier, the better. Like me. My doctor saw one lab work number that led to a diagnosis early enough, so I still had options. That's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the best CT imaging in the Southeast with 98% accuracy and low radiation. Virtual imaging's LD CT whole body scan can be invaluable, giving you time and options for early treatment. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is offering their LDCT body scan for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Now, appointments must be scheduled in May. There are a limited number of scans available at this price, so a few minimum requirements may apply. Don't put this off. I've done it. Call 404-678-SCAN. That's 404-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Noonan homeowners, join us for the grand opening of your new home outlet, May 15th through 17th. Save 20% off store-wide. We understand the demands of family life. Your home deserves more than what the budget sometimes allows. Now is your chance to save on the kitchen, bath, and flooring updates your home needs. Visit your employee-owned home outlet at 54 Bullsboro Drive to save 20%. 3 days only, May 15th to 17th, or shop online at homeoutlet.com.
Home Outlet is your home store.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
The show notes, the live stream, the website, the podcast, and social media links to Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere you need to stay in touch with me. Just text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777.
Good morning, guys. I just want to warn you, traffic is tough out there.
We are here for you to tell you how to keep safe,
Everybody who is listening needs to take cover as soon as they can.
to provide the music, talk, and sports you love, and to deliver the news that matters to you. We are the voices you can trust. We are live and local. We are America's broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress you depend on your local radio stations.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to STOP.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Want to be on the show? Come on, be on the show. Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
Greetings, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here, 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, be patient with me. This is a short segment. I ran long. I've got a collection of clips from the president speaking in Saudi Arabia, giving some real clarity. I do need to tell you there's some breaking news out of this. The president has announced he is going to suspend all sanctions on Syria. He wants to give the Syrians a chance to rebuild. Now, this is going over, it's ruffling some feathers in Israel because they are seen as, the new Syrian regime is seen as possibly hostile. But the president says he wants to give them a chance. This is what he said, got a standing ovation. This just happened. Well, hang on a second. I got to reroute my audio here. I thought I had it fired up. That went, Kobe, sorry.
Ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness.
A lot of applause. Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, is giving a standing ovation. The whole crowd now cheering with that announcement by Donald Trump. Standing ovation, the suspension and cessation of sanctions on Syria to give them a chance at greatness. we will get into this probably at the top of the hour when I've gotten all the sound bites together. It's a monumental speech by Donald Trump in Saudi Arabia and a reset of the global order in the Middle East that he is leading, essentially saying that prior presidents thought they had to look into the souls of the world leaders. And he says that's God's job. His job is to bring peace and prosperity. We will get to that here in a bit. I want to take your phone calls as well, 877-973-7425. Also, some amazing audio from MSNBC. They have a struggle session where they're on the verge of crying over the president allowing refugees from South Africa into the country because we shouldn't be allowing white refugees into the country. They're fine with gangbangers and illegal aliens, just not white refugees from South Africa. Now, before we get into that, I got to tell you about Old Glory Bank, my bank. Y'all, I had a great experience with Old Glory Bank this weekend. I had to deposit some cash in my account, and I went to my local CVS up the street from me, which is one of 88,000 retail partners with Old Glory Bank, and I generated a QR code in the app. I was able to get it deposited. I gave the cashier the money, the cashier counted it, put it in the register, scanned the QR code, and it was directly deposited into my account. They attributed the deposit at CVS as my deposit, and it worked seamlessly. And the app saw the deposit almost immediately after it happened. It worked great. Old Glory Bank is highly innovative. They're a bank by conservatives, for conservatives. They would love to have you as a bank. If your kids need a bank, I mean, they are bleeding edge. Your kids will want to use Old Glory Bank. You get no fee checking, no fee savings. They do mortgages, car loans, CDs, you name it. OldGloryBank.com. OldGloryBank.com. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, terms and conditions apply. They really are my bank. OldGloryBank.com. They can be your bank too.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. The annual inflation rate slipped to 2.3% in April, lower than expected and the lowest since February of 2021. Tony Waterman reporting that the markets had expected the consumer price index to increase 2.4%.
The latest inflation data suggests that businesses are still trying to decide what to do about Trump's trade tariffs, eat the cost, or pass price increases along to consumers. For now, it seems they're taking a wait-and-see approach.
Now, excluding food and energy, the CPI was up 2.8% year over year, according to numbers out today from the Labor Department. Your weather. Partly cloudy, a pop-up showers possible this afternoon and a high of 75, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. The 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals here in Atlanta hearing the case of whether a Texas-based group used mass voter challenges to violate the Voting Rights Act. This case stems from the True the Vote's attempt to challenge more than 360,000 Georgia voters ahead of the 2021 U.S. Senate runoffs.
The attempted act was not to contact or intimidate a voter.
But do you take those in the aggregate or individually only?
I can go through each voters one by one. There's four.
No, the 250,000 or so challenges.
So
how many of those were successful?
I don't believe any of them were.
Georgia-based Fair Fight, a pro-voter organization, filed suit arguing the effort violated the Voting Rights Act, which prohibits any attempt to intimidate or coerce voters. Now, work and summer jobs. This is the 4th annual Summer Youth Employment Program Signing Day at Zoo Atlanta, a day that Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens says brings together employers from across the city with teens looking for work.
Boy, did our employers in this group project really did show up. We've had more than 150 Atlanta businesses sign on each year.
And those businesses offer internships to Atlanta's youth over the summer. It's 1:32.
Nothing warms your home like natural light.
It's time to brighten yours. Add more daylight and bigger views with Infinity from Marvin Fiberglass Windows.
Hi, it's Jonathan and Ted from North Georgia Replacement Windows.
Our windows come with narrow frames giving you more light. Experience the Infinity from Marvin Fiberglass difference at your home or in our new Alpharetta showroom.
Window and door shopping made simple.
0% interest available.
Infinity from Marvin Replacement Windows, yeah!
For many women in our community, support for our physical and mental health feels out of reach.
When your workday is long.
And your budget is tight.
And your village is busy.
And the road between home and help is a 6-lane highway with no crosswalk.
Northside Hospital believes women deserve better.
Northside is rolling up our sleeves and getting to work.
We got your house call.
Heard.
Learn more at northside.com/heard.
When markets get rocky, the worst thing you can do is nothing. Hi, I'm David Nicholas, president and founder of Nicholas Wealth Management. Times like these demand action and a plan you can trust. That's why we rely on our trademark Retire Ready Bucket strategy. This strategy is designed to place a percentage of your portfolio into lower risk, income producing income bucket, aiming to generate steady cash flow for the first 10 to 15 years of retirement. Meanwhile, your growth bucket is filled with dividend and growth stocks, which has time to recover when markets are going crazy. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com to schedule a time to sit down with our team to review your plan. This strategy was crafted by experience. It's battle tested, and it's how you aim to keep your retirement on track even when the markets are not. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. At Nicholas Wealth Management, we're prepared. Are you? Don't wait for the next headline to shake your confidence. Call Nicholas Wealth today, 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. Nicholas Wealth Management. Retire ready.
Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Neither the information nor any opinion expressed is to be construed as solicitation to buy or sell a security or personalized investment, tax, or legal advice.
Alex Williams with a look at the roads.
Crash 285 westbound, the outer loop Beaufort Highway, or Peachtree Boulevard, I should say. It's in two left lanes, but should be clearing. And a stall in a center lane, about to clear it, though. 85 southbound before 17th Street. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Partly cloudy today with pop-up showers and thunderstorms through the afternoon. High 75.
It is 73 degrees in Winder, Alpharetta, and Doraville. More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, even when it isn't popular. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would like to go up to our friends WHIO in Dayton, Ohio, and take Susan's phone call. Welcome to the show, Susan. How are you? Susan? Up. Susan. All right. I'm going to put you on hold, Susan, see if we can come back to you if you're still there. I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see if you come back. So Susan was going to talk about South Africa and the longevity of violence against white people there. You know, it has been happening for some time. Now, listen, there's a time here. I understand the problems in the 1980s or so. South Africa, let me just step back here, give you a larger geopolitical snapshot here. After World War II, the global order realigned towards the United States in leadership, and then the Soviet Union developed the bomb with some spies in the United States helping them, and the Cold War began, and it became an East-West divide. And the Cold War problems spread, and a number of countries decided to chart their own path. Brazil, India, China, South Africa. And South Africa kind of aligned with the West, aligned with the East, aligned with the Soviets, aligned with the Americans, and it charted its own path. And the apartheid regime was created and was a segregationist regime in the 1980s. It got denounced, and a lot of Western leaders were willing to accommodate them to keep South Africa from aligning with the Soviets. Ultimately, Nelson Mandela led a peaceful resistance effort. It collapsed. And for a time there with Nelson Mandela in leadership, the country seemed to be on a good charted path after apartheid, but it has been falling off the rails ever since. And now the economy there is in collapse. The power goes out all the time. It's just not good. Let me see if we've got Susan back here. Susan, welcome to the show.
Oh, hi. Thanks for having me again.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no. Many years ago, when I lived in England, I was out delivering envelopes for Save the Children. With my boyfriend, and we dropped off an envelope at this house, and the owner was in the garden and went to pick it up, saw what it was, and literally came chasing us with his walking stick. So upset, we apologized. We carried on doing what we were doing. He then came after us to apologize to us, and he explained the reason why he was so mad was that he had friends who were African farmers in South Africa, and their 5-year-old daughter was in the back garden playing while the mother was fixing lunch, and then she was slaughtered in the back garden.
Gosh.
Completely slaughtered. And he was still devastated by it. And I was 26 and I'm nearly 64, and I can still feel how upsetting that was, and because it was terrible.
I have heard these stories for a number of years, and it frustrates me that the American media treats them as isolated incidents when there's clearly a pattern happening in parts of South Africa where, it is crime. And that what they say, what the American media says, in fact, there was an NBC News story on this, is that what the president is doing is separating out white victims of crime in South Africa from general victims of crime, when everyone's a victim of crime in South Africa, which doesn't really sell itself, that everyone's a victim of crime. But there does appear to be a real targeting, particularly of the farmers in South Africa, and the resentment of the farmers in South Africa. It's a horrible situation. And it does appear to be a pattern, and has been for the last number of years, where they're targeting specifically for violence and murder farmers who do not have family in country, or do not have descendants, or in some tragic cases, they've murdered the whole family. And then there's there are no immediate descendants for the land. We're going to put the land up. This country's going to put the land up for sale, and it's the wild redistribution of farmers' land in South Africa that's coming as a consequence of murder. And so the fact that there are 59 families, and by the way, you should know there are a lot more families that were eligible, and many of them said they don't want to be treated as refugees. They don't want to come here. They're going to stay in South Africa. Good for them. God bless them for doing it. But it's just wild to me that our media doesn't want to be honest because of the intersectionalism. And for those of you who don't understand, I use this term. It's probably a good time to redo this primer for you, just so you know. What is intersectionalism? Intersectionalism actually comes from critical theory. We don't talk about critical theory as much as we did before the election, but critical theory is a power structure. It views the world in terms of power. It is based in Marxism. And critical theory views the world in terms of power. And the way it views the world in terms of power is through an intersectional lens. What an intersectional lens means is that good progressive Marxists look at the world through the dynamics of race, sex, sexual identity, sexual preference, religion, education, handicap or lack thereof. So essentially, if you're a white heterosexual man who identifies as a man, who is Christian with a college degree, you are considered the most oppressive class of person. And the further away you are from being a white, heterosexual, male, college-educated Christian in this country, the more oppressed you are. And the world must be viewed in terms of oppressor and oppress through the intersectional characteristics of race, ethnicity, religion, gender, sexual identity, ableism, handicap, you name it. So if you are a, let's say, black, Muslim, transgender, lesbian who's missing a foot, you're the most oppressed person compared to the white heterosexual male father Christian who's educated. So you're a black, lesbian, Muslim who's transgender, doesn't have a college degree, is missing a foot. You are really oppressed. And according to the intersectionalists, You, by virtue of your oppression, see the world more clearly than the oppressor. Therefore, you have the moral clarity to be able to speak in a way the oppressor does not. Which is why the Episcopal Church doesn't want to help white settlers from South Africa relocate to the United States, because they're the oppressor class. And the oppressor class can never not be the oppressor class. And what the intersectionalists, the critical theorists, believe is that when we have subverted the dominant paradigm, that's the phrase, subvert the dominant paradigm, what that means is that the oppressed now are in charge of society, and the oppressors are the no longer in charge of society, will have peace. Inarguably, that has happened in South Africa, but what has happened is now violence against the white people. But, you can never change. You see, by virtue of you being you, you think that, well, I may be a transgender lesbian Hispanic, but I'm converting to Christianity, and they'll say what you're doing is you're taking on the trappings of the oppressor class, but you're never allowed outside your class. You Hispanic woman, you're never allowed to rise in society. You're always oppressed. And if you do rise in society, you become the CEO of a company, you become a small business woman, you become a Christian, you become a mom. Well, what the intersectionalists say is that you're taking on the trappings of the oppressor class and hiding your real self, because you're never allowed out of your class. South Africa is proof that critical theory is a failure, because they argue that the intersectionalists argue that if we subvert the dominant paradigm and the oppressed become the oppressor, there's going to be no oppression. They won't actually oppress because they'll have lived through it and won't want to inflict it on anyone else. And that's not true. We're seeing in South Africa that's not true. And so what they do is they don't want you to hear about it. They don't want you to tell the truth. They don't want you to know what's happening in South Africa, because that gives the lie to the failure of critical theory. And do you know how they enable power? Power is enabled through words. Reality is shaped by words. Do you know how you get in discussions with people and they tell you the sky is not really blue? The sky is not really blue. It's actually the beams of light from the sun refracting through the atmosphere, reflecting to some degree the waters of the ocean, but also the reflected light. It gives it the appearance of blue, but it's not really blue. And you can't say it's blue, nor can you say the grass is green, because there are colorblind people. And colorblind people can't see that the grass is green, and so you're not allowed to say the grass is green. Because the people with the disability, we have to treat them and elevate them as the majority, even though they're not. There are fewer colorblind people on the planet than those who see normally. But we have to elevate our reality to accommodate them, and the exception becomes the rule. So for colorblind people, they can't see the color green. Therefore, none of us are allowed to say the grass is green, because the exception becomes the rule. We have to presume all cops are corrupt, because there are some corrupt cops. The exception becomes the rule, so all cops are corrupt, and the exceptions are those who are not. But you must presume that police officers are corrupt, because there are some who are, and the exception becomes the rule. It's a very, very weird dynamic that the intersectionalists have, and they can't be honest about what's happening in South Africa because it violates the rules of critical theory, which believes that once the oppressed become the power players, oppression goes away. And in South Africa, they're murdering the farmers, so they can't talk about it, and the media can't be honest about it. Because if they were honest about it, it would expose the truth. And the truth is, intersectionalism is garbage. Antonio, Jacksonville, Florida, you're up next. Welcome.
Hi, Eric. Thank you for having me.
Sure.
I was calling because I want to start out by saying, like, of all of the conservative talk radio, I can listen to you the easiest because, generally speaking, you're just fair across the board.
Well, thank you.
And that is rare. You criticize your own party, which is my party as well, you know what I mean, or whatever, whatnot, and you also criticize the other side. And so that's what prompted me to call today more specifically on the South African thing, because I, too, agree with you that intersectionalism, if we're going to just look at history, just never works. You understand what I mean, right?
Yes.
It just never comes through. But I'm posing more, what solution would you present that would actually right the wrongs of historical errors? Because the land that the Africans have now was in many ways viciously taken way back when, right? And now the heirs get to benefit from that. And so now a new group is now viciously taking, which doesn't solve the problem either. And so if we continue in the same pattern, then we're going to get the same results. Centuries out there, centuries. So
that's a great question, Antonio. And one of the problems is that when Nelson Mandela was president of South Africa, though Mandela was sympathetic to the left and a man of the left, he embraced pretty aggressively free market economics in South Africa, understanding that he needed to model the economies of the West. And that actually elevated a lot of poor black South Africans above the poverty line for the first time after apartheid. It worked. The problem is he died, and his successors in the ANC have moved back to the left in socialist policies and government command and control. So, for example, they've taken over all the power plants in South Africa. They're not actually run by the free market in South Africa. They were, now they're not, and the government has allowed them to break down. What they need to do is not foster the system of white grievance that the white people locked up all the private property and now you can't get it. That's not true. What they need to do is they need to embrace the free market, because a lot of those people in South Africa were benefited when Nelson Mandela was president and embraced free market economic reform in South Africa. And then after he died, his party pivoted back to the left and embraced a more socialistic scheme. And instead of pointing the finger at those failed policies, they're instead saying, oh, it's the white guy. It's the white guy to blame. They can't accept the blame for themselves for destroying the economy. But we saw with Nelson Mandela, the privatization schemes that even he was willing to embrace, despite being a man of the left, worked. Now, they should bring down Americans for Prosperity to teams about free market economics. They're a great group. They're the largest leading grassroots group in the country. They have chapters in virtually every single state right now. They'd love to have you on their team. Americans4Prosperity.org is their website. I'm on their board of advisors. They go around the country. They educate conservatives on common sense conservative reforms that can be deployed locally or in your state, even at the federal level. They'd love to have you involved. Now, all you got to do, if you just want to stay informed, you can stay informed. If you actually want to be an activist and persuade your neighbors, you can do that. If you just want to be the most informed person in your circle of friends, that's fine. If you want to show up at the local governmental level or the state level, or even call your members of Congress, they'll give you the easy tools to make it happen. Americans4Prosperity.org. Americans4Prosperity.org. That's their website. They'd love to have you involved. They make it very easy for you to stay informed. They make it easy for you to be an effective activist. Right now, they're supporting President Trump's tax reforms. We'll have more on that here in a little bit. You can go to Americans4Prosperity.org to be involved. Americans4Prosperity.org.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
151 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Better news in the Doraville area. Crash cleared, 285 westbound, the outer loop, Peachtree Boulevard, exit number 31. Still a little slow leaving Spaghetti Junction, as well as on those 85 south ramping onto 285 west. But again, that will start to improve. We also cleared up the stall that was in Midtown, 85 southbound before 17th Street. And a crash just cleared in Clayton County from the left shoulder, 75 northbound up around Forest Parkway. Tapping the brakes, leaving Terra Boulevard, but that will start to improve. In DeKalb, heads up, water main break, one lane blocked in both directions on Claremont Road at Briarcliff Road. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off. And for UPS shipping, add code radios and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
All the notifications you need.
The story developing in Marietta.
All the local and breaking news alerts you need.
We're following breaking news in Atlanta.
All in one place.
The 95.5 WSB app.
Download it today.
Window shopping can be shocking. Typical replacement windows are big, bulky vinyl windows that lose their efficiency over time. Not what you want for your home.
That's why at North Georgia Replacement Windows, we don't offer those. We only carry the best. Infinity from Marvin Fiberglass Windows.
Experience the Infinity from Marvin Fiberglass difference at your home or in our new Alpharetta showroom.
Visit us at ngwindows.com.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore.
Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Motorcycle riders like you are a different breed. You don't just ride your bike, you're obsessed. So if someone causes you to lay your bike down, you need a different kind of attorney, one that understands bikers and their rights. Eric Von Hessler here for my friends at Steel Horse Law, the Stein and Karen Law Group, motorcycle injury lawyers who ride. You can trust them on the road and in the courtroom. Steel Horse Law can help you get back on your feet, medical bills paid, and your case resolved. Trust is everything, and results matter. Free case evaluation at steelhorselaw.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hi, this is Candace from Exovations, and have I got a tip for you. But today, instead of giving you a home remodeling tip, my tip is don't just take my word for it. For over 20 years, you've heard me on the radio sharing remodeling advice. But if you really want to know what sets Exovations apart, go read our reviews. At exovations.com, you'll find hundreds of real stories from real homeowners who have trusted us with their exterior remodeling projects. From decks, siding, windows, doors, paint, roofing, porticos, and so much more. You'll see words like amazing work, incredible experience from start to finish, and again, stress-free. That's not just what we say, it's what our customers say. So yes, I'm Candace from Exovations, but don't just listen to me. Listen to our reviews. At Exovations, we do projects on time, on budget, and without all that stress. Google Exovations or visit EXOVATIONS.com.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation. Let's jump back to the phones here, 877-973-7425. Todd calling from Kansas City, Missouri. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me. This is my first time.
Welcome.
I love your attitude and just the information. Thanks for doing what you do.
Thank you.
Well, and this is kind of part of the question is the information. I don't know of any television show or any talk show or anybody that has been able to explain when we elect our senators and our congressmen, Democrat, Republican, independents, it doesn't really matter. There are some core values that, we as Americans have, and it just seems that they fight on what's right and wrong, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder, is there anybody who knows how decisions really get made with these folks? Because it just seems like it's all politics.
Yeah, okay, so Todd, let me just tell you, it actually is all politics. The Republicans have power. They're trying to keep the power. Democrats want the power. They do a lot of polling and focus grouping on the messages that matter. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's a leadership decision. So the House Republicans and Democrats alike, they both have leadership committees. And those committees decide on the messaging, and they give memos to the members of Congress. And they say, these talking points work the best. And they want those members to regurgitate. Now, some play along and some don't. The Democratic Party side, they tend to be better team players and playing along. Republicans, much more individualistic. We gripe a lot on our side that it's like herding cats on our side, and it is, but it's actually good because we have better, more independent thinkers, and they tend to sort themselves out over time and get stuff done. The problem right now with the Republicans, you have a 3-seat majority. It's impossible to get anything done. Any 3 members have a veto. But that's what happens, leadership poll tests to try to figure out what message works. Let me give you a message that works. Go to omahasteaks.com, and you're going to save you 50% off right now, site-wide, and get an extra $35 off by using ERICK, E-R-I-C-K, as your promo code at checkout for Memorial Day. Minimum order required. omahasteaks.com has put the whole site 50% off everything. The prepared meals, the steaks, the chicken, the seafood. They've got a great seafood selection, all in time for Memorial Day. They want you guys to load up your cart, and then at checkout, if you put in ERICK, E-R-I-C-K, is your promo code, you're going to get an extra $35 off, and it's already 50% off. So incredible savings in time for Memorial Day. You guys want to take advantage of the savings. I have loaded up at Omaha Steaks. You know, we ate through the steak burger, so I got some more. And the caramel apple tartlets for my wife. They're the favorite. I love the Argentinian shrimp. They're like little baby lobsters. I get those for Omaha Steaks when I do my fried shrimp tacos. You can load up for Memorial Day. omahasteaks.com. Their New York strips, great too. Had some of those the other day. omahasteaks.com. Use ERICK as your promo code at checkout for an extra $35 off.
Hey, it's Shelley Winter here from my good friends at PalmettoSleep.com. Let's talk about a serious business, sleep apnea. I suffer from it, and whether you've been diagnosed with it or afraid you have it, I have the solution. Palmetto Sleep is here to give you your life back. They make it easy to get help for sleep apnea because living without a good night's sleep is simply no way to live. Palmetto Sleep offers a custom-fitted oral appliance that opens your airway so you naturally breathe the way nature intended. The best part is they offer virtual consultations and in-home sleep testing. No overnight stays at a sleep center. Plus, Palmetto Sleep has all the doctors that you will need. Most appointments are virtual, and it's all covered by your private medical insurance. Don't suffer from another sleepless night or daytime fatigue like I do. Visit PalmettoSleep.com now. Visit PalmettoSleep.com. That's PalmettoSleep.com.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. A federal appeals court in Atlanta hears arguments today in a voter intimidation case in Georgia. Here's a report all new at 2 o'clock.
An attorney for voting rights group Fair Fight says the mass challenges to the vote mounted against some 365,000 voters were not only the largest in Georgia's history, but a history of voter intimidation repeating itself. Attorney Jake Evans argues they didn't intend to intimidate, but 11th Circuit Judge Federico Moreno was skeptical.
Come on, they're duking it out. We got to make sure we don't have people from other places voting. We want to intimidate them without using those words. Wasn't that the purpose of it?
Well, that was not the purpose at all.
No word when the panel will rule. Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
76 degrees in Atlanta, watching for pop-up showers and storms this afternoon. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. DeKalb County Police are searching for a killer this hour. WSB's Graham Carroll reports a teenager is dead after an argument leads to a shooting at a gas station in Lithonia.
DeKalb Police responding to calls of a person shot arrive at the Shell gas station on Hillendale Drive to find there are 2 injured male teens, one of them fatally. The deceased victim is 17 years old. An 18-year-old was wounded and is being treated at a nearby hospital.
Police are searching for a third person who was involved. Gwinnett County Police identify a murder suspect they're looking for. 39-year-old Frederick Taylor of Lawrenceville is wanted in the killing of 35-year-old Tiffany Trim of Snellville 2 weeks ago at a home on Hillsborough Drive. A child in the home called 911 to say there was a fight between a man and a woman. The kids in the home were not harmed and were not related to the victim or suspect. DeKalb County Police are searching for 2 teens who were last seen in the 1000 block of North Hairston Road. They are 12 and 13 years old. We posted their pictures at WSBradio.com, and anyone with information should contact DeKalb Police. President Trump announces today he is lifting sanctions on Syria.
My administration has already taken the first steps toward restoring normal relations between the United States and Syria for the first time in more than a decade.
The president is in Saudi Arabia, the first stop on his 4-day trip to the Middle East. Now WSB Money updates, some good news today and the latest report on inflation.
The consumer price index in April rose just 0.2% from March, up 2.3% from April of last year. That means it was lower than forecast for the third month straight. And one big help was the cost of eggs. They fell 18% last month as the bird flu outbreak eased. Also lower the cost of used cars.
Bloomberg's Tom Busby reports, excluding food and energy, the inflation rate rose 2.8% over last year. It is 2:02. This news sponsored by Bread Beckers.
You're ready for a new deck, but don't know where to start. You can DIY, use an unlicensed chuck in a truck, an overpriced luxury designer, or you can choose us. Hi, I'm Scott Nelson, owner of Nelson Exteriors, and we do decks differently. We build beautiful, high-end decks at a reasonable price with lots of options. We're licensed and insured. We'll work with the materials you choose and stay within your budget. Call Nelson Exteriors for an extraordinary deck renovation. Google Nelson Exteriors.
What spots or water streaks on your ceiling, drywall, or chimney? Your roof is leaking. Home Fix It host Dave Baker. Get a free roof analysis from my trusted experts, Finley Roofing. The roof guys. No obligation, no charge. FinleyRoofing.com. Roof.
This is Andy Harris, president of Coosa Valley Credit Union, inviting you to come see us for your auto loan needs. If you're buying a car or refinancing your current auto loan, at Coosa Valley Credit Union, you'll get one of the lowest interest rates in the market, as low as 3.49 APR when you open an account with a direct deposit. Coosa Valley Credit Union is local and nearby in Northwest Georgia. Plus, you'll always speak to a real person when dealing with us. That's what we call kinder banking.
Contact 706-235-8551 for more details. Equal Opportunity Lender.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
If your basement is showing any problem signs, condensation, wet floors and walls, musty smells, mold, or rot, AquaGuard Foundation Solutions can help before it's too late. Visit aquaguard.net and sign up for a free inspection. Remember, AquaGuard.
At 2:05, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Travel advisory in DeKalb, crash 2 right lanes, 285 southbound, the interloop before North Lake Parkway exit 36. You're jammed up through Dorville, also slowing 85 south, trying to ramp onto 285. And downtown, 75, 85 northbound, volume picking up from Langford Parkway up to Freedom Parkway. Southbound on and off the brakes from 75, 85 south, right around 17th Street, getting past North Avenue. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Partly cloudy today with pop-up showers and thunderstorms through the afternoon. High 75.
74 in Riverdale, 78 in Sugar Hill, and 75 in Dallas. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is EAT. EAT. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBRadio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is EAT. EAT. Join me live at 3 for the Von Hessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
Greetings, conversationalists across the fruited plain. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, happy to have you, but we got big news coming out of Saudi Arabia where the President of the United States has been speaking there, making big headlines, painting a vision of his foreign policy. And this is actually rather important. It's important because the President of the United States he's got an economic vision. He's got a foreign policy vision. He's oftentimes seen as flying by the seat of his pants. But he clearly has a vision if you listen to him. And I want to play you some of his clips out of Saudi Arabia and this pretty profound speech that he gave, where he's also announced, among other things, his suspension of sanctions on Syria. I played that earlier as it was happening. Got a big round of applause, a standing ovation led by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, a trading partner, and they get along very, very well. Remember, Biden hated the guy. Trump gets along with him very well. This is the president talking about Iran.
But with that said, Iran can have a much brighter future, but will never allow America and its allies to be threatened with terrorism or nuclear attack. The choice is theirs to make. We really want them to be a successful country. We want them to be a wonderful, safe, great country, but they cannot have a nuclear weapon. This is an offer that will not last forever. The time is right now for them to choose. Right now, we don't have a lot of time to wait.
By the way, can I just say, you can tell when he's reading and not. He gets much more animated when he's off the top of his head. Much more subdued. But it's notable that he's saying this in Saudi Arabia, that now's the time they can't get a nuclear weapon. Now's the time for them to decide. I want them to have a bright economic future, but they can't get a nuclear weapon. And he said that in front of the Saudi leadership, which is very opposed to Iran's nuclear ambitions. And if Iran does get nuclear weapons, Saudi Arabia is going to pursue them.
Yet I'm here today not merely to condemn the past chaos of Iran's leaders, but to offer them a new path and a much better path toward a far better and more hopeful future. As I've shown repeatedly, I am willing to end past conflicts and forge new partnerships for a better and more stable world, even if our differences may be very profound, which obviously they are in the case of Iran. I have never believed in having permanent enemies. I am different than a lot of people think. I don't like permanent enemies, but sometimes you need enemies to do the job, and you have to do it right. Enemies get you motivated. In fact, some of the closest friends of the United States of America are nations we fought wars against in generations past, and now they're our friends and our allies.
That's the president. A few more clips.
My administration stands ready to help Lebanon create a future of economic development and peace with its neighbors.
So he's got sanctions off Syria. This is the broader statement. I played you the big applause line earlier, but this is the fuller extent of his statement on Syria.
Likewise, in Syria, which has seen so much misery and death, there is a new government that will hopefully succeed in stabilizing the country and keeping peace. That's what we want to see in Syria. They've had their share of travesty, war, killing, many years. That's why my administration has already taken the first steps toward restoring normal relations between the United States and Syria for the first time in more than a decade. And I'm very pleased to announce that Secretary Marco Rubio will be meeting with the new Syrian foreign minister in Turkey later this week. And very importantly, after discussing the situation in Syria with the Crown Prince, your Crown Prince, and also with President Erdogan of Turkey, who called me the other day and asked for a very similar thing, among others, and friends of mine, people that I have a lot of respect for in the Middle East, I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness.
That got a big round of applause in Saudi Arabia and around the Middle East. A lot of buzz there, a lot of buzz.
If the responsible nations of this region seize this moment, put aside your differences and focus on the interests that unite you, then all of humanity will soon be amazed at what they will see right here in this geographic center of the world. It really is. It's like a center of the world and the spiritual heart of its greatest faiths.
Spiritual. It's like a fertile crescent for humanity. Yes. come together. Now, this is the one that is really interesting to me. I'm intrigued by this statement by the president, and it gives you a sense of his vision for leadership in the world.
In recent years, far too many American presidents have been afflicted with the notion that it's our job to look into the souls of foreign leaders and use U.S. policy to dispense justice for their sins. They loved using our very powerful military, and now it's really the most powerful it's ever been. We just are getting a budget approved, $1 trillion, highest budget we've ever had in history for military, $1 trillion. And we're getting the greatest missiles, the greatest weapons. And, you know, I hate to do it, but you have to do it because we believe in peace through strength. You have to have the strength, otherwise bad things could happen. But hopefully we'll never have to use any of those weapons. Seems to be an awfully big waste of money if you're never going to use them, but hopefully we'll never have to use them because the destructive power of some of those weapons are like nobody's seen before. I believe it is God's job to sit in judgment, my job to defend America, and to promote the fundamental interest of stability, prosperity, and peace. That's what I really want to do.
Now, let me take out his riffing about the military here. Far too many American presidents have been afflicted with the notion that it's our job to look into the soul of foreign leaders and use U.S. policy to dispense justice for their sins. It's God's job to sit in judgment. It's my job to defend America and to promote the fundamental interests of stability, prosperity, and peace. It's a very realpolitik way to look at the world. It is not George W. Bushian. It is Brent Scrowcroft, George H.W. Bushian. It is, we got to side sometimes with bad guys. Let God sit in judgment. I got to bring stability, prosperity, and peace. Now, I know that there will be people who will be very upset with me for saying that. But it actually is notable that he would say something like that. It's very realpolitik. It is very just, there are bad people in the world, and sometimes you got to do business with them. I'll let God judge them. I'm going to do what I can for my country, and that's actually good foreign policy.
After so many decades of conflict, finally it is within our grasp to reach the future that generations before us could only dream about, a land of peace, safety, harmony, opportunity, innovation, and achievement right here in the Middle East.
Now, one last one. This is an extended clip of the president documenting progress and investment in the United States from the stage in Riyadh as he's talking to the Saudi Crown Prince and others.
We are cutting 10 old regulations for every new regulation. We're getting rid of all of the red tape that is so many, frankly, countries, as they get older, they develop a lot of red tape, and we're getting rid of it. We're getting rid of it at record levels. And I'm pleased to report that the United States Congress is on the verge of passing the largest tax cut and regulation cut in American history. We think we're in good shape to get that. And if we get that, that will be like a rocket ship for our country. In the first quarter of the year, the investment in America was up an astounding 22%. More than $10 trillion of new investments have been announced or are coming just since the election on November 5th. So think of that. In a very short period of time, we have over $10 trillion, and it could be much higher than that. Not everybody comes to the White House to have a news conference that they're going to be opening up in America, but they're all coming in at numbers that we've never seen before. If you take a look at other presidencies, they wouldn't do $1 trillion sometime in years. We did this in essentially 2 months because you have to say we got into office and they gave me about a month to clean up and fix up the Oval Office. And after that, we started working. And the money is pouring in, the jobs are pouring in, the companies are pouring into our country like we've never seen before. There's never been anything like it. And we let other people tariff us into losing a lot of money and a lot of jobs, and now we're tariffing them, and it's at a level that nobody's seen. It's a level that is making us a very much different country and a very different Republican Party. We won a tremendous victory in November. We won all 7 swing states, the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. The Electoral College, we won by 312 to 226. Remember, they said, well, we could get to 270. No, we got to 312. That's a big difference. And very importantly, we won counties throughout the United States, 2,660 to 451. That's why when you look at a map, they're all red. The whole country is red. Red stands for Republican. From the moment on and from the moment we started, we've seen wealth that just poured and is pouring back into America. Apple is investing $500 billion. NVIDIA is investing, and I see my friend is here, Jensen. That's very good, wherever you may be. Thank you very much, because he's putting in $500 billion. TSMC is investing. Where is Jensen, by the way? Where is he? He's standing here. Where is he? I just saw that. Thank you very much, Jensen. I mean, Tim Cook isn't here, but you are. What a job you've done. He said he's got 99% of the chip market. I don't know. That's not easy to beat. But what a job you've done. Thank you. We are proud to have you in our country. You know that. Thank you for the investment. TSMC is investing $200 billion, and with this trip, we're adding over $1 trillion more in terms of investment into our country and buying our products. And, you know, nobody makes military equipment like us. We have the best military equipment, the best missiles, the best rockets, the best everything. Best submarines, by the way.
That's the president of the United States in Saudi Arabia. $1 trillion he's hoping to get out of the Emiratis, the Saudis, the Qataris, the Bahrainians, the Omanis, and others to invest in the country through their sovereign wealth funds, and essentially suggesting there at the end, you know, we got a lot of military equipment we can be selling you guys because nobody makes as good as us. This is a business trip more than it's a foreign relations trip, but he's also said some pretty profound things about his vision for foreign relations, that he's willing to work with bad guys if it's in the interest of the United States, which is actually refreshing to hear because so many American leaders don't want to acknowledge that that's sometimes what you got to do.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
220 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Earlier crash moved on to the right, 285 southbound, the inner loop before North Lake Parkway, exit 36. So delays will improve, leaving I-85. It's got 85 southbound, a little extra slow this afternoon as you leave Jimmy Carter Boulevard in Norcross. Heads up West Side inner loop, 285 northbound, just north of Langford Parkway on the inner loop. Some debris people are dodging. That's in a few left lanes there. Traffic brought to you by the Georgia Lottery. Get ready for another Powerball jackpot tomorrow. Powerball players can win millions playing in-store or online at GALottery.com, only from the Georgia Lottery. I'm Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is EAT. E-A-T. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBRadio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is EAT. E-A-T. Join me live at 3 for the Von Hessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
Why are more and more homeowners choosing Rhino Shield over traditional paint?
That's easy because paint contains 60 to 70% of water, and your home needs to be painted every few years because it offers little to no protection for your home.
Rhino Shield is not paint. We've been protecting homes across Georgia for over 20 years. Rhino Shield is made up of 79% solids and will protect your home from Mother Nature and can even make your home more energy efficient.
And it's made right here in the United States. Protect your home with Rhino Shield. Go to rhinoshieldga.com.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Right now, USDA Choice boneless New York strip steaks are only $9.99 a pound in the family pack with your digital coupon. Limit 5. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
It's Eric Erickson here. Every single day now, I deal with a malicious request to click a link. My daughter the other day got a text message some of you have probably gotten. Click on it and pay your toll, and it's just a scam. All these things keep happening. They're preying upon the young, senior citizens, and you and me. But there's good news. Vision Computer is here to help you. If you have their managed service, you're never alone, and in just 15 seconds, expert tech support is at your fingertips, ready to protect you from online threats, scams, and computer problems. And you don't have to take my word for it. We're a Vision Computer household, but they've got thousands of 5-star reviews beyond my household reviews, but I'd give them 5 stars too. They've got thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews because they're simply the best. Call them at 404-COMPUTE today or visit them online at visioncomputers.com, because when it comes to your security, you can't afford to wait. Vision will take care of you. Tell them I sent you. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group, to discuss one of the biggest blind spots that people face when saving for retirement, and it's a head-scratcher. Chris, how do so many people not know what they're invested in?
That's the biggest flaw that everybody runs into. They think they know what equities they have, they think they know what bonds they have, but they really don't know how those mutual funds or how those index funds are performing in conjunction with one another. So, I would liken this to a big pot of soup, and we're just throwing all the ingredients in the refrigerator in this thing. It's not very good. It's just a mishmash of stuff. And sometimes you like the way it tastes. Sometimes you don't. And when you don't know why. You don't know if you got too much chicken in there or too much vegetables in there or what's going on. And I ask every caller that comes in for an initial consultation, do you know how your portfolio is broken down? And they say, well, I've got, 20 or so options in my 401k, and I just picked 2 of them or 3 of them. I thought I needed some international. I thought I needed some U.S. equities. I thought I needed some bonds. And they're just guessing. So you have to absolutely know what you're invested in, and that's where we will run the 401k portfolio x-ray for you, because that'll break it down. If you're not proficient at investing and don't understand this world, we will walk you through it. Not knowing what you're invested in is a big hindrance to growing and protecting your money. We will run a portfolio x-ray for you and educate you on exactly what's in your portfolio.
Set up a time to get your complimentary portfolio x-ray today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858. That's 404-737-3858, or book online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB. He may not tell you what you want to hear, but he tells you what you need to hear. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Welcome back. It's Eric Erickson here. The House Republicans are moving forward with a tax cut plan that appeals to nobody. Conservatives are threatening to kill it. Blue state Republican SALT deduction people are threatening to kill it. The Senate is threatening to kill it. They might actually have the votes for it. Everybody hates it. One of the things I thought was funny, though, is that they did not cut Medicaid as much as conservatives wanted, and then they cut Joe Biden's Green New Deal more than moderates wanted. And that was kind of their compromise there. And I saw a Politico headline, the cuts to the Green New Deal are so big, even conservative groups are complaining. And I thought, what conservative group would complain about this? It turns out a group of progressives set up a group that calls itself a conservative environmentalist group. They've even gone to the UN climate change conference and got Republicans to go to the climate change conference. Doesn't sound like a conservative group to me. Kelly Ayotte of New Hampshire has been involved with it. She's pretty moderate Republican. And you look at the names, they're all moderate to progressive Republicans, but they've called themselves conservatives. And so Politico is saying conservatives are outraged by the cuts to the Green New Deal. You are definitionally not a conservative if you are opposed to cuts to the Green New Deal. I don't care what Politico calls you. If Politico calls them conservatives, I would like to henceforth be referred to as the King of America. I am self-branding myself the King of America. They're going to have to call, if they're willing to call this group conservatives, they need to call me the King of America, because that's my self-branding. It is as accurate and honest as calling these people conservatives who are upset at the cuts to the Green New Deal. The Republicans have basically decided to get rid of all of the Green New Deal subsidies, including for high-capacity battery chargers and subsidies to buy electric vehicles, and on and on and on. You name it, they're willing to cut them all. Good for them. They need to. We got to save some money somewhere to be able to cut the taxes. And by the way, they did put in no tax on tips. Going to start paying Kobe here in tips and get out of having to pay taxes on it. I don't exactly know how that's going to work and going to cause some problems, but the president said he wanted it, and the Republicans plan on delivering no taxes on tips. They've got it in there. Maybe it'll work. A buddy of mine reached out to me this morning. Mike did. He said, our house stinks. It smells like our dog. What do I do? My in-law said you recommended something. I said, yes, the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. Go to EdenPureDeals.com, put in the discount code ERIC3. You can buy 3 Eden Pure Thunderstorms, one for upstairs, downstairs, and your basement. They have all 3. And it'll wipe out the dog odor. It wipes out dirty diaper odors, pet odors, cooking in the kitchen odors. It wipes out every odor. No odor can stand up to it. It also gets rid of pet dander, pollen, dust. It gets rid of 99.9% of bacteria and viruses. And you can get 3 of them for less than $200. You save $200 at EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3. They're small. You can hold them in your hand. I keep one in my travel bag. You can plug it up with a USB cord in a car. If someone's been smoking in a rental car, it wipes out the odors. Or in a hotel room, it wipes out the odors. And then you can plug it into the wall if you need to as well. USB cord or the wall. You get 3 of them. You save $200. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code ERIC3, ERICK3 at EdenPureDeals.com. Wipe out the bad odors.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story, the search for a killer in DeKalb County after 2 teenagers are shot. A 17-year-old is dead and an 18-year-old is in the hospital after the shooting at a gas station in Lithonia. DeKalb Police spokesman Blaine Clark says they're looking for a third person.
Anyone with information can send an anonymous tip to DeKalb County Police through the free Tip 411 app or by texting DKPD to 847-411, followed by the tip.
Police are reviewing surveillance video from the gas station on Hillendale Drive, hoping it can help them identify the other person involved. A federal appeals court in Atlanta indicates it may revive a lawsuit accusing a conservative group of violating the Voting Rights Act when it announced it was challenging the eligibility of more than 360,000 Georgia voters. The Texas-based nonprofit True the Vote is accused of voter intimidation ahead of the dual U.S. Senate runoffs in Georgia in 2021. A federal appeals court judge says a lower court committed legal error in its ruling, finding no violation of the Voting Rights Act. The suspect in last month's mass shooting at Florida State University is denied bail today. Judge Monique Richardson says 20-year-old Phoenix Eichner cannot have any contact with victims, survivors, or witnesses.
No contact means you can't call, write, text, email, can't contact on social media, and you can't ask anyone to contact those individuals for you.
Eichner faces 2 counts of first-degree murder and 7 counts of attempted murder. Spirit Airlines is announcing a new premium option for its travelers. It'll include extra legroom seating and 2 free checked bags for card holders. The new seats will be installed in June and roll out across the majority of Spirit's fleet by July. The 2 free checked bags policy begins later this year. It is 2:32. This news sponsored by FGA Roofing.
Hey homeowners, it's Eric Erickson here. Do your windows and doors stick? Are you noticing cracks in the drywall or the brickwork? You might have a big problem. Serious issues need the serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, as are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
Business fraud is on the rise. Is your bank helping you make a plan to detect and prevent it?
I'm Brian Parks, head of commercial banking in Atlanta for Ameris Bank. Our local bankers are here to guide your company and make recommendations for your business, including fraud prevention tools like Positive Pay. This month, we're even offering an on-demand fraud prevention webinar for businesses like yours. To view the webinar and learn more about how we can help you protect your business, visit amerisbank.com/businessmonth. Ameris Bank, fiercely yours, member FDIC.
Hey y'all, Belinda Skelton for Four Seasons Home Care, and I'm not going to cry in this commercial, I hope. As many of you know, I lost both my parents recently, but I am so thankful they were able to finish their lives at home where they wanted to be. It's all because of the incredible caregivers who came to see them every day. I am so grateful to Four Seasons Home Care. This is a real family-owned company that vets and hires every single one of their caregiving specialists. They don't have contractors. They're not some national corporation. They are simply the best here in Georgia. And a lot of you have asked me about my journey and if home care is right for your aging parents. I'll tell you what I tell them. Call Four Seasons Home Care and just start the conversation. It's a 100% free call that can change everything. Google Four Seasons Home Care Atlanta. That's Four Seasons Home Care Atlanta.
With thousands of 5-star reviews, it's no wonder CertaPro Painters is Greater Atlanta's most preferred painting company. Hear from one of their happy customers.
We wanted to add some color to our walls, so we hired CertaPro. We had built-in shelves that were supposed to be ready to paint when they got there, which they were not. CertaPro spent hours caulking and sanding to make sure the job was done right. It's rare to find a crew with integrity who really take pride in their work.
When choosing a painting professional, choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Thanks to our APD officers who just blocked a few lanes on 285 northbound, the Interloop Langford Parkway exit 5. Got some debris out of the roadway. Everything back open there. 85 southbound out of DeKalb, or out of Norcross into DeKalb. Still a little slow from Jimmy Carter Boulevard. Trying to get on to 285 south where we had earlier trouble cleared. That's got 285 east on the brake lights back to Peachtree Boulevard in Dorville. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy today with pop-up showers and thunderstorms through the afternoon. High 75.
78 in Snellville, 77 Cartersville, 73 in Fairburn. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Hello, my friends. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number, 877-973-7425. The story here is kind of wild that that the Democratic spin now is that Joe Biden actually was sharp in 2022, and he began to decline in 2024, that basically started fading after the midterms, and it was the wear and tear on him because of Hunter Biden. That's the story, except the Wall Street Journal piece says that that came out in December 2024 says he was having bad days in early 2021, good days and bad days, March, April 2021. And the excuse is that everything else was a cheap fake. This is Jon Favreau, who worked for Barack Obama, not the Star Wars Jon Favreau, the Marvel Jon Favreau, the speechwriter Jon Favreau, and he's trying essentially to do his damage control. As Democrats are, that we really didn't know. We were up close and personal with him. He was fine. They're trying to save their own hide because they were willing to lie about him. Remember, even some of those guys at that fundraiser in Hollywood, where he apparently didn't even recognize George Clooney at the event. He had to be told it was George Clooney. And all these guys were like, he is perfectly normal there. He is perfectly normal. That lies. They're just trying to save their skin. They're trying to avoid the fallout because this book by Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson, clearly there's going to be fallout coming. Now, I want to shift gears For those on the spectrum, I have an autism spectrum friendly story for you. Because who among us I keep wanting to say Alzheimer's, but autism, who among us with autism doesn't love trains, Pete Buttigieg? This is from the New York Times. The headline, "What's so hard about building trains?" In Florida, Brightline has proved that it can operate reliable, well-designed passenger trains that people want to ride. Can the public sector do the same? Firemen from Highland Beach, Florida, were headed to a conference in Miami. A money manager on his way to his office in Boca Raton. Families with young children wearing Mickey Mouse ears and toting Little Mermaid backpacks filled the train's sun-soaked four-seaters on their way to or from Disney cruises and various theme parks. Florida, of all places, has been rebooting inner-city passenger rail travel in America. Back in the late 19th century, the oil tycoon Henry Flagler built a railroad down the state's Atlantic coast that fast-tracked Florida's growth and put cities like Miami and Palm Beach on the map. Then the automobile proliferated. Now, a privately owned service called Brightline, operating on Flagler's old line, is making a 21st century pitch for the enduring virtues of train travel, moving passengers 235 miles between Miami and Orlando with a few stops in between in hopes to reach Tampa. The company is pursuing a second service too, a $12.4 billion, 218-mile all-electric train that'll link Las Vegas with Los Angeles, or more precisely, Rancho Cucamonga, California, where riders can connect with the California Metrolink to L.A. It aims to be America's first genuine high-speed rail. The project, unlike the one in Florida, whose construction costs have nearly all been paid by Brightline, has received $3 billion in promised federal grants. The company's hope was to have the service up and running before the 2028 Summer Olympics in L.A. The goal now, according to Brightline officials, is the end of 2028. With inner-city rail travel struggling in America as a private company, the fix is a truism that trains are potent engines of urban and economic development, but can they make money? These questions arise as the Trump administration targets public services like Amtrak and New York's Metropolitan Transportation Authority, threatening to pull federal funding, a potential calamity for millions of American commuters. And the economies they support, the threat also creates an opportunity for private railroad to stage comeback. Now, I have to tell you, I am somewhat enamored with trains. You know, there are trains everywhere in Europe. Now, Europe is much more compact than us. In this country, aviation gets you where you want to go quicker. I have twice taken the Silver Comet. Runs from New Orleans up the eastern seaboard. I have taken it from Atlanta to Washington, D.C., and I have taken it from Washington, D.C. to Atlanta. I took it from Washington, D.C. to Atlanta because there was a terrible storm, and my Delta flight kept getting delayed, and I knew it was going to get canceled. And I found a JetBlue flight. I've never flown JetBlue before. But it was a JetBlue flight that went from Washington to Boston and then from Boston to Atlanta. And it would leave at 10 p.m. It would get to Boston at like 11 p.m. And it would land in Atlanta at like 4 o'clock in the morning with a delay in Boston. And then I realized if I did that, I would truly be miserable. But also, there was the train from Washington to New Orleans, and it left at like 8 p.m. and arrived in Atlanta at 8 a.m. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do that. And I rushed. There was one business class seat left on the train, and I was at D.C. I was at Reagan International Airport. I hopped on the metro, and I made it in time. Got a business class ticket, and I knew, now listen, I was probably going to be up all night because I don't sleep well on trains and planes. I wear a CPAP machine because, one, I do have sleep apnea, but two, after the clots in my lungs and stuff, they make me wear it because of pulmonary pressure. And so I was going to snore badly on this train if I slept. but I got on the train. I actually stayed up, met nice father and son from McDonough, Georgia. We hung out together most of the way. Finally got tired, decided I'd go try to sleep. Slumped over into the chair adjacent to me, which was empty. And the conductor at some point shook me awake very angrily that I didn't pay for 2 seats. I wasn't allowed to do that. And then at some point in the middle of the night, a woman got on the train. I didn't realize the train stopped every so often. It stopped multiple places in Virginia. It stopped in multiple places in North Carolina. It got into South Carolina. It finally made its way to Atlanta on time, no less. On time. And it was uncomfortable. But you get a hot meal, and I made it through the storm. The storm raged almost the way there. And ironically, I got a push alert. I finally got back to the studio. I walked down the street from the Amtrak station to my flagship station, WSB, got my car that I had left at the station, and made my way home and got a push alert at 9 a.m. that the JetBlue flight from Boston that had been severely delayed was finally landing in Atlanta. Turns out, not a bad idea to take that train. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to get a sleeper car. I'm going to pay for the privilege of having the bed, and I'm going to go back to Washington for a meeting. This is in the first Trump administration. The train arrived 2 hours late. I nearly missed my meeting, and every time the train stopped, you nearly rolled out of bed. It was a miserable experience. I had a shower. The shower was also the toilet. You could squeeze in there and take your hot shower if you needed to. There was breakfast. The grits were so scalding hot, I got a blister on my tongue. Wasn't bad, but it was like I could literally take a flight on Delta. In an hour and a half, be in D.C. This thing arrived more than 12 hours after it left Atlanta, and it was delayed by 2 hours. It took 15 hours. It's like, this is ridiculous. I've taken the New York to D.C. Acela line, first class, Acela Express, Amtrak's high-speed line. The Bright Line runs faster. The Bright Line is a private sector train in Florida. It's building out Nevada to California with some government subsidies, no less. And Bright Line is making better progress with a private sector train than California is making with the public sector high-speed rail from Los Angeles to San Francisco, for which not a piece of track has been laid. In Texas, there's actually a private public partnership for high-speed rail there. I'm not opposed to trains, people. I'm not. I would just note that I would prefer to be in my car if I can. And also, planes get you there faster. And this country is so much bigger, planes make way more sense than trains. And I would note that in my bedroom Amtrak that took 15 hours to get from Atlanta to Washington, D.C., it was more expensive than the Delta ticket for first class from Atlanta to D.C. It was actually more expensive and took a heck of a lot longer to get to Washington on this Amtrak. But progressives love trains because of carbon emissions. It's true. They love trains because of carbon emissions. And they think if we all just slowed down, the world would be a better place. It's just garbage thinking by the left. They want to envision states with these complicated rail lines where they take people's private property and farms to put railroad tracks on them. It's not practical. Train travel in this country is not practical. You know, I'll be honest with you. So for our honeymoon, when we got married, we went to Banff. We went to the Banff Springs Hotel up in Canada. It was gorgeous. It was in October. It was off season. Hadn't started snowing yet. It was cold. It was beautiful. I really wanted my wife and me to take the American Orient Express. It's a rail line that goes from Denver to San Francisco through the Rocky Mountains. It's apparently gorgeous. You get a sleeper car. You can see parts of the country you can only see by train. You can't even see by car. My wife looked at me and said, basically, are you 30 feet over a runway? Except she used the R word, not 30 feet over the runway euphemism that I use. Literally, that was her response. There was no way she was going to take a train ride across America for the honeymoon. In hindsight, she's a wise woman. I'm glad I married her. We had a great time in Banff. But, look, when I was a kid in Europe, we would take trains. We took a train one time from the Netherlands through France over to Germany and Switzerland. It was fantastic. Beautiful views. But it's great when you're a family on vacation doing it. When you actually need to get somewhere, you don't want to take a train, particularly Amtrak that relies on commercial rail travel. You're supposed to prioritize the passenger rail. You never do. If Brightline wants to do it, God bless them, let them do it. And if you want to ride it, ride it. I have friends of mine who now are regular riders from Orlando to Miami on Brightline. They love it. It's private sector, got there fast. It didn't take government dollars to do it. Let them do it. But what I would just say is so notable is how the private sector can pull off things the public sector can't. And in that regard, there's now a strain of Bernie bro on the right, the progressive right, that really wants to adopt some level of government control and socialism. And they're more and more convinced the free market is bad. You know, you can spot it with, say, what is conservatism conserved? Your right to ask the question, what is conservatism conserved? Your Second Amendment rights, your pro-life rights, your right to school choice, homeschooling, all those things, conservatism conserved. Doesn't mean conservatism keeps everything around. It means it allows you the options to change. These guys want command and control economy. You have these progressive guys on the right now who want government-built rail lines. It's insanity on the right. They need to take the class from Hillsdale College on capitalism. This isn't my ad for Hillsdale. That is coming up. But still, I mean, they need to reappreciate capitalism. I saw a radio show host, a notable radio show the other day, says he's given up on his free market orthodoxy because he's realized we're not a capitalist society anymore. We're a corporatist society. It's like, so now you're going to abandon your principles because the country abandoned its principles on free market orthodoxy. That's nonsensical. The free market has elevated more people out of poverty than anything else, and it's gotten a train line from Miami to Orlando functioning when the public sector still can't lay track in California. Never underestimate the private sector. When the public sector gets involved, it screws it up. Look at the Brightline in California and in Nevada. Relying on federal subsidies to do it, they're having a harder time doing it when they did it on their own. Never underestimate the free market's power to elevate people and improve lives. And both sides, left and right, need to believe in the free market again. In fact, now, I will tell you, if you go to ericforhillsdale.com, you can take their class on capitalism. Go to ericforhillsdale.com today. Sign up with Hillsdale College. You can take one of 40 different classes from Hillsdale College. You can learn how capitalism actually fosters a morality and a trust system based on arm's length transactions that you don't get when you begin to degrade the system and move towards the corporatism we have and the cronyism that we have. If we get back to a better form of capitalism, we get back to a better moral people. It works. You can also take classes on the foundation of the country, on the Athens and Sparta divide, on the Roman Republic. There are 40 to choose from. You get a certificate of completion from Hillsdale College when it's done. You go to ericforhillsdale.com, ERICK, ericforhillsdale.com. Sign up with Hillsdale College. Take one of their great classes. Get a certificate of completion. You'll never pay a penny. They're completely free, and they're really, really good. Some of the best faculty. They're video lectures. You do it at your own pace from Hillsdale College. Eric, ERICK. ericforhillsdale.com. Take the one on capitalism. Remind yourself how great the free market system is.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
250 Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Watching that afternoon volume grow through downtown, heading southbound, starting right around the 85-400 merge, on and off the brakes all the way down to North Avenue, with northbound delays starting Highway 166 up into Midtown. Don't forget, water main repair continues Claremont Road at Briarcliff Road, at least one lane blocked in both directions, so tough delays there. Traffic brought to you by Georgia Commute Options. With Georgia Commute Options, you can get more out of every mile, earn prizes, gift cards, and other cool deals when you switch from driving alone to a cleaner trip. More at mygco.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
online,
on the app,
where you get your news,
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
Are you serious? The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
OMG! Oh my goodness!
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 5.
The WSB 5K day bonus blitz
On 95.5 WSB.
Y'all, it's Eric. I know as a homeowner, you start seeing the cracks in the wall or the door start sticking. You wonder what's going on. You could have a foundation problem. Engineered Solutions of Georgia is the only foundation repair company in Georgia with licensed engineers on staff providing the highest quality of work. If you got concerns, reach out to them for a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Okay, so you love yard sales, but through the years, you've had to pass on a porch swing and an adorable ceramic Dalmatian because your car wasn't big enough. You need a Toyota Tundra from Beaver Toyota of Cumming. Dave Baker here. With your lifestyle, the Toyota Tundra is the perfect vehicle for you. It has plenty of room to haul stuff for work or play, plus it comes with the Beaver benefits, lifetime powertrain warranty, free oil changes, premium roadside assistance, and more. The Toyota Tundra from Beaver Toyota of Cumming. It's the official truck of the Home Fix-It Show. See more at BeaverToyotaCumming.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Stop your grinding with Brooks Night Guard.
Are you waking up in the morning with a sore jaw, headaches, ringing in your ears, all because you're grinding and clenching your teeth at night? That's exactly what was going on with me. I ended up going to a dentist, and he wants to charge over $600 for a night guard. That's when I found the Brooks Night Guard. You mold it at home to the top or bottom teeth. Other mouth guards go all the way to the back, which allows the back teeth to touch. This is where most of the grinding and clenching occurs. The Brooks Night Guard redirects the bite force away from the back teeth, reducing jaw pain while still protecting the teeth. This unique design is what makes Brooks Night Guard different from all other traditional grind guards. Order your Brooks Night Guard today and get 10% off plus free shipping. Go to brooksnightguard.com and enter the code BRUX91. That's BRUX91.
Stop your grinding with Brooks Night Guard.
Your non-stop news source. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Social media links by texting Eric to 33777 now.
Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here. Let me see if I can squeeze in Richard's phone call here at the end on the tax plan. Welcome, Richard. How are you?
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it. Listen, I'm driving, and I may get into a bad area, so I want to pose this question very quickly to you. Over the course of the last number of months, when it comes to the budget cuts, the media keeps telling us, and the liberals keep telling us, that they're concerned about cuts in Medicaid. Now, I keep hearing that the Republicans are not going to cut. Now, waste and abuse and fraud is one thing. Can you dissect that for me, please?
Yeah, so, the Republicans say they want to cut waste, fraud, and abuse, but they have so far failed to rescind any of the spending that Elon Musk's Doge group has found. Now, part of this is a presidential problem, is that the law actually says the president's got to send a letter to Congress outlining what was found, and they haven't done that yet. But the Republicans themselves could draft the legislation and put it in the budget reconciliation package without the president doing so. They've failed to do so. The other issue is when it comes to Medicare and Medicaid, What the Republicans want to do is they want to say that if you are above the poverty line, your premium is going to go up. And if you're an able-bodied person capable of work, you're going to have to work to qualify for Medicaid, or at least be in the active hunt for a job. And Senate Republicans want to cave on that. They don't want the bad press from touching Medicaid. This, by the way, was the Barack Obama reform, and a lot of the House conservatives are calling BS on their Senate Republican colleagues refusing to go along with this, because this literally was what Barack Obama had proposed when he was president, was that if you were an able-bodied person who could work, you should have to either actively be looking for work or in a job, even if it was just a part-time job, so you couldn't afford health care costs. You'd qualify for Medicaid based on your income level. And the Republicans, some of them are balking at doing this. So they don't want to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. By the way, it turns out Elon speculated that it would be several $1 trillion he would find. It was only a couple $100 billion that they found. Just very, very frustrating that many of the Republicans aren't taking it seriously. And then you got the blue state Republicans who are threatening to sabotage and scuttle the entire thing because they're not getting a massive state and local tax deduction. I got to tell you, Magic Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, being able to herd all these cats together to get anything out of the House is going to be a miracle. And he tends to work miracles, and I'm hoping that he will work this miracle to get something done. I wish they would cut more out of Medicaid. I'm glad they're cutting way more out of the Green New Deal than the moderates want. Getting rid of the Green New Deal will actually be economically beneficial because the Biden administration essentially engaged in crony capitalism, picking winners and losers in key swing state areas, and the House GOP is scrapping all of that. That's good. That's needed. It's necessary, but we need more as well. Now, the president going to still be Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates. There'll be a lot of news tomorrow. Probably we'll start the show tomorrow with the news coming out of there overnight because it'll be daytime there. He's going to be on the move, making big headlines in the Middle East. There will have more economic numbers coming out as well. So stick around tomorrow. A lot of news happening this week with the president on the move in the Middle East. I'll bring you the latest tomorrow.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
So if you're seeing that solicitation from your local cable monster offering you an incredible deal on cell phone service, if you're already getting internet service from the cable monster, take a look at what they're offering for your cell phone plan. It could save you so much money from what you've been paying to someone else. This is how it works. The cable monsters offer service where most of it's running off of their own internet backbone as you travel around town and as you're home. And then when you travel outside of their zone, they buy cell phone service from one of the big companies, but you get the savings. I'm Clark Howard.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 3 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. A federal appeals court in Atlanta seems open to ruling mass voter challenges ahead of Georgia's dual U.S. Senate runoffs in 2021 violated the Voting Rights Act.
The voting rights group Fair Fights Lawyer says the mass yet unsuccessful challenge